lead singer of the band Heartbreaker, a Led Zeppelin cover band, and a native of Natick, Mass. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Cat Jones.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Cat will also be throwing out our ceremonial first pitch this evening. When you're ready, Cat, let's... Here this evening, to say those two famous words we've all been waiting to hear, we have the lady interns for the Gatemen.
Welcome to today's broadcast of the Wareham Gatemen here on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Today, the second home game of the season, the Wareham Gatemen hosting the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Game number 6 of the year for Wareham after coming off a tough doubleheader sweep loss to the Chatham Anglers yesterday. First game by a final score of 8-3, the second by a final score of 6-1. As you see, the Wareham Gatemen pitcher Joey Matulovic getting ready to warm up for today's action. Matulovic coming into today's game 1-0 on the season. Got that win in the 9-0 victory over the Harwich Mariners in the second game of the season last week. Matulovic pitched 4 innings in that game, giving up a hit and 2 walks, striking out 4 batters on the way. For Wareham, Matulovic coming into today, the California Berkeley product, one of 2 California Berkeley pitchers. By the way, my name's Sam Corman. I'm joined by Jacob Toby, Gatemen broadcasting veteran at this point in his career.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, you're about, 40 games ahead of me, right? So, veteran by my standards.
You'll catch up.
As Joey Matulovic getting ready to face Reese Hampton here, and the game is underway as the pitch comes in high and outside to the leadoff hitter for Hyannis. We'll run through the lineup really quick. It's Hampton at center field hitting first. Daniel Robinson in left is at second as the pitch from Matulovic comes in. Good pitch there. Tyler Frank, the shortstop's going to hit third. Brendan Donovan DHing will bat cleanup. Micah Coffey at third will hit fifth. Dom DiCaprio is catching. He'll hit sixth. Robert Newstrom is hitting 7th. He's in right field. Brant Stallings at first base will hit 8th. And Dakota Julia is at second base. He'll hit 9th. As Reese Hampton is the leadoff hitter here for Hyannis. He is facing a 2-1 count here against Matulovic. What impressed you about Matulovic in the first outing?
Well, he had 4 strikeouts. His command was there, and scouts have said beforehand that his off-speed stuff needs work. His secondary pitches, his curveball changeup needs work, and it was surely there. And outing out of the bullpen versus Harwich.
Yeah, Matulovic, one of the few pitchers that's got it going for Gatemen so far early, as this one's flied out to left field. That's John Topa out there in left to make the play. And the first out is retired here in the top half of the first, as Yukon product Topa will go through the Gatemen defense. That was Topa in left that made that play. Left to right in the outfield, it's Topa, Angelini, and Bonfield. In the infield, third base to first base, McIver at third, Fosnot is at short, Brandon Lockridge at second, and Blake Sable is at first. Jake Anchia is doing the catching for Joey Matulovic out of California. It's a California Berkeley product pitching to a D2 Nova Southeastern, as this one's grounded to second. Brandon Lockridge is there, fires over to Blake Sable, and 2 out quickly for Joey Matulovic here in the top half of the first inning.
Number 14, Tyler Frank.
Well, I said pregame that Reese Hampton had to get on base early on in the game because he was 2 for 4 on opening day versus Wareham, and he was really part of their 3 runs that were scored. And today, obviously, he just flew out to left field, and then Robinson grounds out. So 2 quick outs here. Nice job from Matulovic, though.
Reese Hampton was hitting .333 prior to that at bat, 5 for 15 on the season. But now you're looking at Tyler Frank stepping into the batter's box. The righty facing Matulovic, a good pitch there on the outside corner, 0-1 on Tyler Frank on the fastball there from Matulovic. Frank coming in from Florida Atlantic University out in Boca Raton, Florida. Pitch here from Matulovic is a breaking ball that's fouled away over the Gatemen dugout.
Let me tell you this much. I am very excited to hear some geography from you tonight. It's my favorite part about broadcasting with you. I learned so much about our country that I don't know about because there's just so many places out there that you know.
Well, you seem to be very interested in the geography every single time. I just figure that people want to know where these colleges are located.
I respect you for that.
As Frank looks at a pitch and slaps this one into right field. Coming on for a sliding play is Bonfield, and the side is retired here in the top half of the first inning. A good play there by the Arkansas Razorback, Luke Bonfield in right field. No runs, no hits, no errors, and no men left for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Gatemen coming to bat in the bottom half of the first on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
When you're sick or injured, you want care when and where it's convenient for you. South Coast Health Urgent Care has 4 locations: Fairhaven, Wareham, and now in Seekonk and Dartmouth. You can view wait times and even check in online at southcoast.org/urgentcare. Choose the time and location that's best for you. We'll even remind you when it's time to come in, and walk-ins are always welcome. Urgent care that exists to meet your needs. More than you expected? That's more than medicine. Check in at southcoast.org/urgentcare.
Welcome back. It's the bottom half of the first inning here in Wareham. Hyannis went down 1-2-3 on Joey Matulovic, and now it's Michael Bertello getting the call for Hyannis today, the right-handed pitcher who is 1-0, has the lone win for Hyannis this season. And Bertel coming to us from Central Michigan University. I'm not sure exactly what town that was, what that one's in, Jacob. I'm sorry.
You failed me.
But we'll run through the Gatemen lineup before Brandon Lockridge, the leadoff hitter, steps in. Lockridge is leading off. He will play second base today. Andy Shattuck is DHing. He'll hit second. Willie McIver, the red-hot Willie McIver, will play third base. He is going to hit third. Jake Anchia hitting cleanup. He'll catch. Luke Bonfield is in right. He'll hit fifth. Blake Sable is at first base. He will bat sixth. John Topa in left is batting seventh. Nate Fosnot hitting eighth. He'll play shortstop. Nick Angelini is hitting ninth and center as Brandon Lockridge takes a first pitch strike from Michael Bertel. In the Hyannis defense, fouled off by Lockridge. The Hyannis defense, left to right in the outfield, it is Daniel Robinson in left, Reese Hampton in center, Robert Newstrom out in right field, third base to first base. It is Micah Coffey at third. At short, it's Tyler Frank. Dakota Julia at second base, and Brant Stallings at first. Dom DiCaprio is doing the catching for Michael Bertel, who just struck out Brandon Lockridge on 3 pitches. So he's down quickly.
Yeah, Bertel working really fast there against Lockridge.
And it's important to keep Brandon Lockridge off the bases. We've seen that when Lockridge gets on early in innings, it can sometimes lead to some good stuff for the Gatemen lineup as Andy Shadid steps in. Got up to a red-hot start for the Gatemen, but has fallen to just 4 for 19 this season for Wareham. The Illinois native comes in today with 1 RBI and 1 extra base hit this year. Slaps one out to right field. On the run is the right fielder Newstrom to make the play. 2 retired here in the first. One thing I want to point out pretty quickly is that we actually saw 3 home runs yesterday in the doubleheader against Chatham. We haven't seen any here yet at Spillane Field in just 1 game, but it's a deeper ballpark. It's tough in a higher fence. It's tougher to hit home runs out here.
It is, but Colton Shaver last year hit 8 home runs that led the Cape League. He led the Cape League in home runs and RBIs, and he surely found power out here, but it is tough. 412 to center field.
Yeah, with that football field out in center, it's tough. As William McIver, the red-hot William McIver, steps in with 2 gone here in the first inning. McIver hit the first home run of the Gatemen season in Game 1 of yesterday's doubleheader against Chatham. Actually tied the game at 3 before that game resulted in a 3 loss. A good slider there from the pitcher Bertel coming inside to the inside corner. And now the count is quickly 1-2 on the Washington product, William McIver, who's 7 for 19 so far this season. You talk about hitters that have really stepped up to the plate for, as McIver grounds this one to second. Julia is there over to first to Stallings, and the side retired here in the first inning. A quick first inning here in Wareham. We will go to the second with no score between Hyannis and the Gatemen.
We also want to recognize and thank
Cape Cod Healthcare now offers Cape Cod residents and visitors convenient urgent medical care by emergency room trained physicians at the Fontaine Outpatient Center in Harwich and the Stoneman Outpatient Center in Sandwich. For sore throats and coughs, x-rays and splinting, suturing of lacerations, and much, much more, come to the Stoneman Outpatient Center at 2 Jan Sebastian Drive, just off of Exit 2 in Sandwich, or the Fontaine Outpatient Center at 525 Long Pond Drive, just off Exit 11 in Harwich. Both have extended evening and weekend hours, and both centers are staffed by emergency room physicians. No appointment or referral is necessary. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Welcome back here. It's the top half of the second inning already here in Wareham. Both teams went down 1-2-3 back in the first inning. Matulovic and Bertel working pretty quickly for these teams. We saw a bit of a pitcher's duel in the first game between these two teams. Only 1 inning had any scoring. It was Hyannis' second inning as the cleanup hitter Brendan Donovan steps in, the South Alabama product. South Alabama located down in Mobile, Alabama, right on the Gulf of Mexico, in case you were wondering, Jacob.
And you talk about that pitcher's duel. Fioli, obviously, Wareham starter, struggled, only went 2 innings. But after that, Andrew Ryan went 4 innings, struck out 3. Noah Zavala struck out 2 in 2 innings. So after Fioli, it was all good for the game. It was just that 1 inning that they really had trouble with on opening day versus the Harbor Hawks.
It's a 1-2 count on Donovan, and absolutely, Andrew Ryan was very impressive in that game. We have not seen him yet since that, but we could see him out of the bullpen as Brandon Donovan strikes out, swinging on a good off-speed pitch there from Joey Matulovic, so he's retired the first 4 batters in this Harbor Hawks lineup. Micah Coffey is the next guy up for the blue and orange. They used to be the Hyannis Mets before changing it to the Harbor Hawks pretty recently. Still wearing those Mets colors, though. Number 12, Coffey in the plate, the lefty. Coffey coming to us from the University of Minnesota. As the 1-0 pitch coming from Matulovic, a breaking ball just high and outside. A good angle of balls and strikes from right behind home plate here, as does home plate umpire Michael Finn for today's game. Pitch comes in, a good fastball there from Matulovic. Catches Coffee a little bit late, fouls it off past the Hyannis dugout, out of play to the left of us. Mike Coffey with 11 home runs and 98 career RBIs at Minnesota. And did play in the Northwoods League last year. This is his Cape Cod League debut this season. Coming in today's game, hitting .364, 4 for 11 on the year. No RBIs yet for the 5-hitter. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Good pitch there. A high heater from Joey Matulovic. Coffey couldn't lay off, and that's the second consecutive strikeout today, presented by Lang, Exafaris, and Buller, the law offices over there. And Dom DiCaprio is going to step in.
Matulovic is going to have a tough time competing with Justin Glover for their first start, the best start of a Gatemen pitcher. Glover retired the first 14. We'll see what Matulovic can do.
Dom DiCaprio, the catcher today, steps in. This is his first game of the season for Hyannis as the pitch comes in outside from Matulovic. DiCaprio out of Rice University. Swings and drives this one into center deep. Going back is Angelini and reaches up and makes the play. A tough play for Angelini, racing back there and turning around, making the play while spinning. So 6 up, 6 down for Joey Matulovic. Hyannis goes down in order once again. The Wareham Gatemen coming about here in the bottom half of the second with no score.
Visit Stars Restaurant and Chef's in Resort and Spa for a world-class dining experience. As Curry College extends beyond classroom and is embedded in all that they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
Welcome back here. It's the bottom half of the second inning. 6 up, 6 down for the Gatemen pitcher, Joey Matulovic. And stepping back on the mound is Michael Pertell, who retired the Gatemen 1-2-3 in the first inning. 2 up for the Wareham Gatemen in the second, Jake Anchia, Luke Bonfield, and Blake Sable. Anchia has hit cleanup in every game this season except for the second game of last night's doubleheader, as he cranks this one out to right field in the first pitch, a short fly ball. And Newstrom is there to make the play. So 1 pitch, 1 out for Bertel, as this game continues to move at a pretty swift pace here.
The right fielder, number 5, Luke Barnfield from Arkansas.
So Anchia drops to just 1 for 13 on the year.
Yeah, he's been struggling, to say the least.
For sure. And when you're facing, D2 pitchers all season, it's tough to come in here and face these really good arms. As a breaking ball comes in, a good pitch there on the slider from Bertel. In on Luke Bonfield from the University of Arkansas down in Fayetteville.
But
Go ahead.
But it's still doable to hit if you are a D2 player. We saw last year with the Gatemen, Adrian Tovalin came in from Azusa Pacific. He just got drafted, and that's a D2 school, and we saw him struggle. He hit some bombs to left field some homers last year, and Anchia surely is struggling, but he'll definitely find the stroke at some point.
Absolutely. And in the home opener against Falmouth, the most impressive hitter for the Commodores was Joshua Bro, who was a junior college transfer.
Exactly.
Playing at McLennan Community College. So we know that they can do it, although Anchia just has to find his bearings. It's just tough to adjust to those D1 pitchers as Luke Bonfield facing an 0-2 count here. Bertel, a fastball outside. Bonfield went 0 for 5 in the 2 games yesterday. He had just come in after Arkansas fell in the regionals to Missouri State in their own regional. As the pitch comes inside, low, Bonfield now at 2-2. And the New Jersey native hit .283 this year for the Razorbacks, played 2 games for Wareham last year. Breaking ball swung on and lined into left field. Diving play by Robinson in left, and it looks like it's a catch. Great play there by Daniel Robinson out there in left. And we've seen a lot of good diving stops early on this season. I feel like it's been a theme so far in this Gatemen season, both on the defensive and offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, watch out. You saw McIver yesterday with a diving stop at third. Defense has been very popular so far on the Cape.
As it usually is, the pitching is usually the highlight of these Cape Cod Baseball League season as Blake Sable steps in and fouls one away. Blake Sable second on this team with 3 RBIs so far this year behind Willie McIver, who leads the way with 5. Of course, that 3-run blast to center field yesterday will help that cause. Breaking ball comes in outside. Sable out of USC and had a pretty rough going yesterday, although went 1 for 2 in the second game. They go 0 for 2 in the first as this one's grounded up the middle. Going to be a tough play for the shortstop, Frank, and fires over to first. A nice play by Frank to retire the side here in the bottom half of the second inning. The Gatemen go down 1-2-3 again, and we will go to the third inning. No score between the Harbor Hawks and the Gatemen.
Friendly's Restaurants, a timeless tradition since 1935, is proud to sponsor the 2017 Cape Cod Baseball League season. Baseball and ice cream, 2 of America's favorite pastimes. Right fielder number 30, Robert Newstrom from Iowa.
Welcome back here. It's the top half of the third inning, 12 up, 12 down for the pitchers in this game. That's 6 aside, so the 7-hitter Robert Newstrom steps in for his first at-bat, swinging away at the first pitch, popped up down the third baseline, and stepping back into fair territory to make that play is Willie McIver. We know how good he is defensively, and there's one down here in the third inning for Hyannis.
From Georgia Tech.
Matulovic has now retired 7 batters in a row. He's looked pretty good so far. Fastball working and off-speed stuff as well.
Absolutely, that slider really working for him coming in. That curveball, slider from Bertel. Matulovic deals that one outside to number 25, Brant Stallings, coming into this game 0 for 7 on the season for Hyannis, as he swings and fouls this one out over to the Gatemen dugout. Stallings coming from Georgia Tech in Atlanta, a Buford, Georgia native, and going to be a junior next season. As the pitch comes in, Matulovic check swing from Stallings and got a piece of it, fouled it away. Looked like it was going to be a strike anyway, so Stallings staying alive here at 1-2. Matulovic deals, grounded through the gap and gets by for a base hit. McIver tried to play it, could not, and then the backstop on that play, Fosnot also could not get there. And it goes into left field to Topa for the first hit of the game for either team, and it's Brant Stallings having his first hit of the season.
Yeah, Stallings was 0 for 7 to start off. Gets it just by the shortstop Fosnot. He made a diving play. Good effort, but just a bit outside of the reach.
And Dakota Jalila steps in. Number 3 hitting in the 9-hole today for Hyannis. Fouls off the first pitch. So quickly Matulovic working back from the stretch for the first time today, and he's already ahead in the count on the 9-hitter. Jalila coming from Jacksonville University. Taking a big lead as that one hit him. Jalila walks on down to first as now all of a sudden a runner on second and Brant Stallings on the hit by pitch with just one out here in the third inning. So Matulovic has to settle it down, as that was the first time we saw him from the stretch today, and immediately it affected his play.
Yeah, and that's how quickly baseball works. He retires the first 7 he sees. That's up a single to Stallings and then hits Jalila, and now runners on first and second with only one out. Look for a double play ball here. Look for him to throw some off-speed stuff down and a way to get the ball on the ground.
And of course, a tough double play always on these leadoff hitters. Reese Hampton especially, a speedster. Hitting leadoff today in center field. Takes a strike on the outside corner from Matulovic. Reese Hampton flew out to left field and takes a ball outside. 1-1. That was back in the first inning, coming from UNC Charlotte. Reese Hampton, a All-Conference USA freshman in 2016. But this is a guy who hit .335 as a freshman and then kind of tailed off this season, went .264. As he takes a strike on the low corner, 1-2 from Matulovic to Reese Hampton. As you get the look at the lefty facing the big Wareham pitcher on the mound in Matulovic. Gets ready in the stretch. This one's grounded to second. This could be a double play ball. 4 to the 6 and back to the 3 for the double play. That's Lockridge to Fosnot over to Sable, and that retires the side just like that here in the top half of the third inning. We'll go to the bottom half of the third. Still no score between the Gatemen and the Harbor Hawks.
Your big party portions you can count on all day visiting team. The Cape Cod Baseball League and the NCAA promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation and positive support of the participants and officials. Profanity, racial or sexist comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from this ballpark. Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all that they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
Welcome back here. It's the bottom half of the third inning as you're looking at John Topa stepping into the box to face Michael Bertel. But quickly, we're going to, as Bertel fouls down the line, we're going to send it down to Claudia Chikamian, who's on the field with our head coach, Don Snedden.
Thanks, Sam. I'm actually giving a Cape League update of what's going on around the Cape. Some of the teams are having to do a makeup from earlier on in the weekend when they got rained out. So first of all, the Harwich Mariners are in Falmouth playing the Commodores. They have a 5-2 lead in the bottom of the third, thanks to an explosive offense in the first inning where they had some key eyeing the ball and were able to load the bases and score on some walks. Other than that, we're just in pregame for Katua at Chatham and Yarmouth Dennis at Orleans, and those games will start at 7. Back to you, Sam.
Thanks for that update, Claudia. As you're looking at UConn's John Topa in his first at-bat of the game, as Michael Bertel out of Central Michigan has retired the first of the Gatemen, 6 of the Gatemen lineup. As Topa fouls this one off himself, it's a 1-2 count. Topa coming in with 2 RBIs, has one of the best averages on this Wareham roster at hitting 400, 6 for 15 this season. And Topa's been a regular at that 7 hole. Pretty interesting. You have to wonder what the reasoning behind that in the lineup. There's always something to the lineup in terms of the order. There's always a reason.
Well, I think Topa's got some speed as he strikes out there. He's definitely got some speed. I mean, he was hitting 400 before that strikeout. He had a couple RBIs, and maybe head coach John Snedden wants a little bit of speed down at the bottom of the order. Still has a little bit of pop, I think, at least. He's a very strong kid, and we'll see what happens as he continues to bat from that 7 hole.
We see speed up and down this Gatemen lineup, really. Oh, that one came really inside. It looked like it was going to hit Nate Fosnot, but he backed out of the way. 1-0 on the 8-hitter. Playing shortstop today is Fosnot out of George Washington. His teammate Robbie Metz is not in the lineup, as this one swung on and missed.
Yeah, we've seen Metz now 2 out of the past 3 games not be in the lineup, which is a bit interesting. We saw him in every game so far before that.
It's very surprising. You wonder if the coaching staff is just giving some of these temporary players a few more reps, a few more games before the season moves on. And we'll see Metz, I'm sure, much more later in the season, as the pitch comes into Fosnot. And he grounds it to first, chopper, and Stallings will handle that one himself pretty easily. 2 down, and the first 8 have been retired by Michael Bertel. He's given up just 1 hit this season.
Well, to that point, you were talking about giving the temporary contract guys a bit more time to play. You have Tristan Pompey coming in here the next couple days. It should be from Kentucky.
As the umpire calls time, that was interesting, as Bertel was already halfway through his windup.
That's another outfielder that you're going to have to work into the rotation.
Here's an outfielder right now, Nick Angelini, as we'll expect to see Pompey in the lineup quite a bit. Not only on offense is he a threat, but defensively he's one of the best there is. He was, as this one's grounded into left field, and the Gatemen have their first hit of the game as Angelini takes a big cut around first base, but will hold up there for a 2-out single.
Yeah, I think Pompey will definitely be a candidate for the leadoff spot. Maybe if Lockridge can stick around, they can battle it out. But he let off a lot for Kentucky this past season.
Pompey, can't wait to see him coming into Wareham this summer.
Yeah, he's one of the better prospects in baseball.
Was already drafted by the Twins out of high school, but elected to attend Kentucky and play in the SEC, as this one comes into Brandon Lockridge, who struck out swinging back in the first. A first-team All-SEC this year was Pompey, and he led the SEC in hits and was second in runs behind former Gateman Kramer Robinson.
Yeah, that's
Robertson.
That's why he was the leadoff guy for the Wildcats.
Now this one picked off an attempt over to the first baseman Stallings, but Angelini dives back safely. Angelini does have some speed, and he is now 3 for 9 this year after that hit, so Angelini is having himself a pretty solid start to this season on the hitting side of the ball. Brandon Lockridge coming into this at bat 5 for 16 as another pickoff attempt, keeping Angelini close. We mentioned the speed up and down the lineup. You really look at the whole lineup. Lockridge has speed. Shadid has some speed. McIver can really fly. Even Anchia as a catcher can run, and Sable too as a catcher. As this one a breaking ball outside.
Yeah, I would say Sable's their most athletic catcher. Him or McIver, if you want to. McIver's been playing more third, but they're all catchers technically.
And they're all catchers, but they can all really fly around the bases. Topa, you mentioned, can steal bases, and of course Fosnot is one of the fastest guys in this lineup. So really up and down the lineup, anyone can steal a base at any time. As the runner does go here, as the pitch comes in on the outside corner, and not even close. Nick Angelini with his first stolen base of the season.
Well, you talk about it. He had a very, very nice jump off the pitch of Bertel, and the throw was just not even close.
Yeah, and a good throw, too, by the catcher, Dom DiCaprio, making his Cape Cod debut today. As he goes out and for a quick conversation with Bertel, as now there's a runner in scoring position for Wareham with 2 out here in the 3rd inning. Brandon Lockridge can also fly, of course. Seen that many times this season.
When you talk about Angelini having a good year at the plate, he had a triple yesterday.
Yeah, in that second game, of course, that tough 6-1 loss in that 7-inning battle against Chatham. This one's popped up. Tough play for the first baseman, but he makes the play. Brant Stallings, that is, and the side is retired here in the 3rd inning. No runs on a hit for the Gatemen, but we'll go to the 4th inning scoreless here on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
All-Star Game Weekend starts with a celebrity softball game on July 21st at McKeon Park in Hyannis. Come watch Jason Veritek, Bill Lee, Nancy Kerrigan, Scott Zolak, and other celebrities play ball in support of the Cape Cod Baseball League and Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital of Cape Cod. Gates open at 4 p.m. For more information and to buy tickets, go to allstarcapecod.org. That's allstarcapecod.org.
Welcome back. Here is the top half of the 4th inning here on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Hyannis and Wareham tied at 0, and if it wasn't for a 3-run second inning in the first game between these two, we would have 13 scoreless innings now between these two teams. The pitching is really dominating these two lineups so far in what we've seen between Hyannis and Wareham, as Daniel Robinson, the 2-hitter, will step in for his second at-bat. Pitch comes in from Matulovic outside, as Matulovic has given up just 1 hit so far in his first 3 innings. What do you like about his pitching so far?
I mean, he's looked pretty good. He hit that one batter coming out of the stretch for the first time in the game, but other than that, a couple strikeouts. He's got stuff working. Let up the single to Stallings, but it's been pretty well so far, I think.
Looks like his fastball has actually been his best pitch so far, as that one comes in and is fouled line, almost nailed the third base coach down there for Hyannis, but he got out of the way.
Yeah, watch out, head coach Chad Gassman, who's coaching third. He was ducking. He's in his 8th season as Hyannis' head coach. He was smiling at his hitter, too. He was smiling at Robinson.
Well, it was good contact, so as a head coach, you have to like to see that. Just a little bit late there for Robinson, as Robinson is 3 for 9. 3 for 10 now with that ground out to Brandon Lockridge back in the first inning as he swings. Fouled this one off his foot, and he's really hurt. That one looked painful as that one came off his foot and came out to the mound. That's a stinger. You see that a lot in baseball. It's not going to be it's not a kind of thing that's a long-term injury. It's just usually, most of the time, we'll pray that it's not a long-term injury, but most of the time it's usually just one of those stingers. He'll shake it off. But sometimes it's so hard to shake off in the time being that you do need a replacement batter. As you see, he's having trouble even standing up right now.
Yeah, he just started to get up and try to walk it off, and now he has to sit down and talk to the trainer and Hyannis head coach Chad Gassman. He's pointing to his right leg. He's now bent over, and I think it's safe to say that they might bring in a pinch hitter here. I mean, you don't want to risk anything.
Absolutely. Especially here early on in the season, and Daniel Robinson looking toward the bench, a trainer out to take care of him, but
he's going to try to get up again. We'll see how it is.
He's got to walk it off. It's just going to take a little bit for it to stop stinging.
Well, if he's already putting pressure in jogging, I think it's not as bad as you would have thought to first see the play.
You see it in, I hate to bring a hockey comparison into this, but you see it in hockey a lot where guys take pucks to the leg or take pucks to the ankle. They have to go to the bench for a few minutes, but after that they're fine. They walk it off. As it looks like what Robinson's doing right here, just walking it off, and it looks like he'll stay in the game, taking his bat back from the home plate umpire, Michael Finn.
Hey, you mentioned that hockey reference. I believe back when the Bruins won the Cup in 2011, Greg Campbell broke his leg off a puck in that one of the finals games.
Absolutely, he did. He continued to play.
Yes, he did.
Finished the shift. And this year we had Nick Bonino for the Penguins, who took a puck to the. He didn't take a puck, but he actually broke his tibia in full fracture of tibia and finished the game. As Daniel Robinson, a trooper, heading back into the box, the lefty fouls this one back, almost nails Jacob Toby, if not for the fence.
I'm telling you guys, I get scared. I flinch.
Actually, that one was probably headed straight from Matt Feld's head over there to the right, or maybe a Claudia Chikamian up here in the press box. As this one comes in low, and the count runs to 3-2 here on Daniel Robinson. After taking that foul ball off his ankle, trying to work against Matulovic. Pitch comes inside. A good hold off there as the slider was tough to lay off of, but he did so. And Robinson heads down to first base. And that's it's a walk, and now it's a hit by pitch, and now a walk for Matulovic.
It's important for Hyannis to get on the base paths. Their offense has been arguably the worst through these first couple games here on the Cape. They're only batting coming into tonight 177. On base was 268. That's the worst as well in the Cape.
Pitch comes in to Tyler Frank, who's 0 for 1, flew out to left field, flew out to right field back in the first inning. And you mentioned the struggles of Hyannis. They scored just one run since that 3-0 win against Wareham on opening day. And Daniel Robinson, that batter on first, actually had that lone RBI. As the pitch on the outside corner, a breaking ball, good pitch there. It looked like Tyler Frank wanted to check his swing. Didn't think it was a strike. As the pitch is now, the count's now 0-2 on Frank. Frank now 2 for 12 this year. And Matulovic out of the stretch with Robinson on first. Pitch comes in, skied up in the air to the shortstop. Fosnot sizes it up and makes the play. And one is retired here in the fourth inning. Remaining at first is the left fielder, Daniel Robinson. Brendan Donovan will be stepping in, the designated hitter for Hyannis. And Donovan coming in, the South Alabama Jaguar, originally from Germany. We mentioned in the first game on the radio how rare it is that Germans come over here and play baseball. I mean, we looked it up. There weren't really any noteworthy
I believe there were
MLB players.
8 German players in the MLB?
There weren't really any noteworthy ones, though, that made the MLB. There are 8 that have made it, or in it right now at least.
I believe there's one on the Minnesota Twins. The name is escaping me, but he was on the opening day roster.
As Brendan Donovan now staring at a 1-1 count, the Enterprise Alabama native. Played for the Sun Belt Champs this year. The runner goes as this one's fouled away as the hit and run was on for Hyannis. As it was the shortstop, Nate Fosnot, going over to cover second base, not the second baseman Lockridge, as they probably were trying to get Donovan to slap that one opposite field on the hit and run.
Max Kepler is the name of the German outfielder on the Twins.
I wish I knew who it was, but
he's a youngster.
At least we do know that there is German presence in the MLB, as this one swung on line. What a play by Sable, and he's going to tag first base for the double play. Blake Sable with a beautiful diving grab at first base, and the side retired here in the fourth inning. And we'll go to the bottom, 0-0 here in Wareham.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all that they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
And we're back here in the bottom half of the fourth inning, and the Gatemen will be started off by Andy Shadid, who's 0 for 1, and back out to pitch is Michael Bertel, who has been very impressive, has only given up 1 hit through 3 innings of work, keeping the Gatemen scoreless here in a 0-0 game. Shadid the DH today. We've seen him in the outfield as well, as he takes a ball low.
Bertel mostly came out of the bullpen for Central Michigan this past season, 23 appearances. He did have 8 starts, though.
Shadid swings and misses. You've seen the struggles of Shadid as you get the scouting report on Bertel.
Yeah, Bertel pitched 69 and 2/3 innings at Central Michigan, a 4.26 ERA, 43 Ks, but did walk 34 batters.
Pitch comes in outside. Bertel, a Canadian from Fonthill, Ontario, just to the west of Niagara Falls. And he was he's actually a team captain at Central Michigan, so he's a leader. The righty deals outside to Shadid. Slider there. Just got away from him, so Shadid now in a hitter's count. We'll see what he's thinking here, and we'll see what the Gatemen coaching staff has drawn up for Andy Shadid here, the Bradley University product. And Bradley, when Shadid works a walk here. It was pretty interesting. Shadid looked back, looked like he was sprinting down to first base. I was kind of confused at what happened. It kind of looked like a drop third strike, but it was actually a ball 4 and a walk. So Shadid's on first. Willie McIver's going to step in to try to follow that one up with the leadoff man aboard. And we've seen McIver in some big spots this year, and we've seen him make some big hits this year. He has 5 RBIs already, and here he is with a runner on. And how big would it be for the Gatemen to get the first 2 aboard here in this inning?
It would be very important after the bats struggled yesterday.
And in a game where it seems like runs are at a premium, of course that could change with any pitcher at any moment, but it seems like the pitching is the story of the game so far, as it was in the first game of the season against Hyannis for Wareham, as McIver fouls this one off behind him. It was Mason Fioli getting the start in that first game for Wareham. Did struggle quite a bit, only was able to get through 2 innings, giving up those 3 runs, but then the bullpen came in and did a great job in his relief. Andrew Ryan and Noah Zavalis coming in for 6 shutout innings, only giving up 2 hits on the way, as this one comes in inside to the 3-hitter, Willie McIver, who hit that 3-run home run in Game 1 of that doubleheader yesterday that tied the game at 3.
Last 4 games, McIver hitting .500 with a 2-run homer.
Runner goes. Shadid taking off for second. Ball comes in outside. Shadid at second with a stolen base, the second one of the game. So the Gatemen continue to be aggressive on the base pads, as now a runner in scoring position with nobody out. And we mentioned Connor Federico before the game talking about small ball and how important every single run is for Wareham.
It is. We saw Angelini steal back in the 3rd successfully. This time it's Shadid. That's the second time that DiCaprio's throw was a little bit short of the bag at second base, and helps out the runner Shadid there as he gets his first of the season.
And a hitter's count here for William McIver. We'll see if he gets a good pitch to hit. He does, and he drives this one out to the opposite field, and deep to the track goes the right fielder Newstrom. Makes the play. Tagging is Shadid, and he gets to third. So a sac fly F9 for William McIver moves Shadid over to third, and Jake Anchia is up now in a big spot with 1 out here in the 4th inning.
Yeah, this would be a big spot for Anchia, the catcher. Obviously, he came into the day batting just 083.
That's gone down, of course.
Of course.
So Anchia hitting in the cleanup spot. As we said, he's been hitting in that spot every game except for just one of those two yesterday. As the righty facing Bertel. And the ball gets away from the catcher DiCaprio, but not far enough for Andy Shadid to make a break for home plate. So Shadid walked and then stole a base to get to second, and then McIver sac flies him over to third base. Not scored a sac fly, but
moves the runner
over as the ball comes in low in the dirt. And Anchia now in a good position here at 2-0. Luke Bonfield is waiting on deck. And here comes the Hyannis pitching coach.
Yeah, they're going to talk it over. We'll see what they do. There is some action stirring in the bullpen. Not necessarily think there's going to be a change, but maybe just trying to calm Bertel down. And you go back to Willie McIver, you talk about him a little bit. He had a career-high 8-game hit streak this past season. He went 14 for 30, home run, 9 RBIs, and he's in one of those right now where he's just in the zone, hitting just under 500 these past 4 games. And obviously he moves the runner over to third there. He made great contact, just missed a home run by a couple feet.
That was the first walk to that walk to Shadid was the first walk of the day for Bertel. He did have 34 walks this year at Central Michigan compared to just 43 strikeouts. So Bertel now in the stretch with a runner on third facing the righty, Jake Anchia, righty on righty. Anchia pops this one up. The first baseman Stallings calling off his infield and makes the play in foul territory. A big out there for the pitcher Bertel, and now there's 2 down here as Anchia's hitting struggles continue.
Yeah, that's what you want to see out of your first baseman Stallings, as some fog is coming in here to Spillane Field. Not as much as we saw in Chatham yesterday. That was a little bit ridiculous, but you see the first baseman Stallings calling it out. You could hear it through the mic, and that's what you need out of your infielders. Take charge.
Yeah, be vocal, because that was kind of a no man's land a little bit. The catcher, DiCaprio, definitely could have made that play. Here comes the first pitch to Luke Bonfield, and it's fouled off behind him. Bonfield 0 for 1 today, flew out to left field back in the second inning, and is now 0 for 6 here with the Gatemen so far. We mentioned that he did play 2 games for Wareham last season. Was also a member of the YD Red Sox back in 2015. Bonfield takes a breaking ball just outside. A good pitch there from Bertel, but Bonfield lays off smartly. Luke Bonfield down in Fayetteville was 283 this season. Or 283 in his 3 seasons combined, excuse me. This season had 9 home runs, 49 RBIs, so he can drive the ball out of the park. 1 and 2 going to come up here with 2 out here in the bottom half of the 4th. A hit gives the Gatemen a 1-0 lead, and any out ends the inning and gets Hyannis out of this inning in which Shadid was walked to lead it off.
Big spot here for Bonfield. He is 0 for 5 looking for his first hit.
And a good swing there to foul that one away. A tough pitch to fight off there from Bertel, as it seems like his command has kind of come back to him a little bit after that leadoff walk. McIver flew out to right, getting Shadid from second to third, and then Anchia popped out to first when a fly ball into the outfield probably would have scored Andy Shadid from third. As this one's grounded, slow roller up on third, going to be a tough play for the pitcher Bertel on to first and gets the runner, Luke Bonfield. The Sides retired here in the 4th inning. No runs on no hits and no errors. The Gatemen leave a man on base. We will go to the 5th inning. 0-0 between the Harbor Hawks and the Gatemen.
back to the Gatemen Baseball Network. So, Matulovic is having another strong outing. What do you really like about what he's pitching today?
Well, he's walked one guy, but he's jumping ahead, first pitch strike, which is what we were preaching, and got some good plays behind him. So he's the man. He's got one more inning.
And what are you hoping to see from the rest of the game?
Scoring a run real soon.
Thanks, Coach. Back to you, Sam.
Thank you. And of course, Don Stetton pointing out the obvious. The Gatemen have not scored in quite a bit here. The last time they scored was off just that one run, as that one's fouled. And if that screen was not there, that probably would have hit me right in the knee.
That's why the screen's there, buddy.
And we mentioned they only scored one run in that second game. It was back in the fourth inning off a McIver RBI double, who has the last 4 RBIs for Wareham, as Matulovic is back out on the mound to face Micah Coffey. And the count is now 2-1 on Coffey, who struck out swinging back in the second inning. Coffey coming from Minnesota, out in the Twin Cities. Swings and flies this one out to left field, a deep fly ball, but there is John Topo to make the play. One down quickly here in the 5th inning as the pitchers continue to work through their routines. We've seen this in a few games so far with pitchers just kind of working through the lineups pretty quickly, but in those games the bullpens have come in and kind of unraveled a little bit for Wareham, so we have to hope that the Gatemen bullpen can follow up this Matulovic performance, because we don't see complete games here in the Cape League. We see...
It's very rare. A couple years ago there was a no-hitter thrown by Hyannis' Devin Smeltzer, but that's the last time I remember a pitcher going a full game.
So if it's not a no-hit situation, you usually get the coach takes him out as a breaking ball is swung on and driven out deep to right field. Going back to the track is Bonfield and makes the play out there in right. 3:30 down the line here.
It's just a lot about pitch counts, because obviously you pitch a lot of innings at your respective college and you come to the Cape and you can only pitch a certain amount of innings that your college coach says. And they communicate that with head coach Don Stetton and pitching coach Jim Lawler.
2 quick outs here for Matulovic. Both fly outs. We've seen a lot of pop-ups on Matulovic, especially on the breaking balls. They're getting under him. And this one comes in outside. 1-0 on Robert Newstrom, who is 0 for 1 with a pop-up. So we've seen a lot of fly balls. I'm counting them up in my scorebook right now. That's 6 pop-ups, or pop-up/fly balls for Matulovic so far through 4 2/3 innings of work. 2-0 coming up on Newstrom. Swung on and blooped into right, but not far enough over the second baseman's head, so Lockridge makes the play and retires the side. 1-2-3 in the 5th. No runs, no hits, no errors, and no men left as Matt Feld is ready to join the broadcast here for mid-game game break. How are you doing, Matty Feld?
Hi, Sam.
Always a pleasure having today's beat writer on. What have you liked from Matulovic so far? He was really good in the first game against Harwich, and he's really good again. It looks like his breaking ball is really, really solid so far.
Yeah, solid breaking ball, really good changeup, but it goes just back to the fact that, he's a heavy strike thrower, and Don said after the game yesterday, the biggest problem with the Gatemen pitchers has been their seemingly constant ability to fall behind in counts. And today, Matulovic has been on the just opposite, put himself in some off-speed counts where he can throw some off-speed pitches when he's up 1-2, 0-1 in the count, and that gives him a better chance for success than some of these other Gatemen pitchers have, falling behind 1-0, 2-0, 3-1.
We've seen a few impressive Gatemen pitchers so far, but Brett Canine is probably expected to be here at some point, but Cal State Fullerton lost today, so what do you expect to see from Canine when he gets here?
Yeah, Canine pitched once again today for Cal State Fullerton in their final game of the season as they fell to Florida State 6-4. Canine pitched 3 innings, the 7th to 9th innings, no runs, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts, no walks, 32 pitches, 24 strikes, and that's pretty much what we're used to seeing out of Canine, a strike thrower who can mix up his fastball with his 12-6 curveball. It's going to be interesting because last summer he was primarily a starter with the Gatemen, and this year at Cal State Fullerton he's been a reliever. He's got 15 saves on the season, so it's going to be interesting to see what type of innings limit he's on and how the Gatemen use him.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. And we are back here for the bottom half of the 5th inning as Jacob Toby joins the broadcast once again. Blake Sable in the box here for his second at-bat as Wareham trying to find the first run of this game as we are halfway home here in Wareham. Home game number 2 between the Gatemen and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Gatemen coming in to this game 2-3. Hyannis coming up in 1-2-1. They tied the Harwich Mariners 0-0 in 9 innings yesterday. Grounded up the middle and threw for a base hit. Blake Sable with a leadoff single here. That's what the Gatemen needed. But yeah, the Harwich Mariners yesterday lost that first game to Harwich, but then the Harbor Hawks came into game 2, and it was a 9-inning game in what was supposed to be a 7-inning game, but after 9 innings, they had to end it in a tie, so a 0-0, a rare 0-0 tie yesterday for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks and Mariners as Sable's on first. John Topa is the batter, showing bunt all the way. The righty, as they go for a pickoff attempt. Nothing doing there for Bertel.
Rightly so, Micah Coffey, the third baseman, playing in on the grass, playing for the bunt, but may go down the first base line. Depends on where Topa puts this bunt.
Topa showing bunt all the way once again. The righty from UConn pulls it back on a high fastball. A good job there by Topa. So the count runs to 1-0 on the UConn product. And in that 0-0 game, a great pitching performance by the Harbor Hawks squad. It was Brooks Crawford and Nick Sandlin out of Southern Miss going all 9 innings for a 3-hit shutout against that Mariners roster. But they couldn't get the win out of it, which is a pretty tough one for your pitching staff to take, is a complete game shutout for those two pitchers, and they can't get the win.
Yeah, and then Riley Gillum, who was supposed to start versus Wareham when they were supposed to be here Friday, he goes 4 1/3 and gives up 5 earned runs in game 1 versus Harwich. Not what they expected out of him.
A tough one for Gillum in that game, as now a 2-0 count on Topa as he's showing bunt all the way once again. Gets it down the first baseline. Advancing the second is going to be the 6th hitter, Sable, and Topa is retired on the sacrifice bunt.
A nice job there from Topa to lay it down. Thought there was a chance he could beat it out, but he gets retired nonetheless. But now runner in scoring position for the Gatemen, which is exactly what you want. You had one back in the 4th, and Andy Shatted, but couldn't get him home. So maybe this time Nate Fosnot can do something a little bit different.
And once again, Connor Federico's key to the game was that small ball. Get the runner over to scoring position, maybe a sac. Now 1 out here, maybe a stolen base over to 3rd for Sable, who has the speed, and then a sac fly scores that run with 1 out here. So Fosnot is the batter, the 8 hitter. And Sable can steal 3rd. He has some of the best speed on this Gatemen roster. And in a 0-0 game, I wouldn't be surprised, as a big hack and a swing and a miss by Fosnot, who is a .332 hitter this year at George Washington.
Sable stole 26 bases at Southern Cal this past season. Not what you'd expect out of your catcher, but he did so nonetheless.
You wonder how many of those were over to 3rd. Probably not a ton, but it's
doable.
It's definitely doable for a guy of his caliber, as it seems that Bertel is certainly worried about him as he turns back to second base. The second baseman, Jalila, goes over there to check on him. And Nate Fosnot, who's hitting 2 for 8 so far this season. Righty facing righty Bertel in the stretch. Checking on Sable and now throwing. Ball on the outside corner. Just outside on that slider. Now a 2-1 count as Bertel has surrendered just 2 hits so far today. And both have reached scoring position. Actually, all 3 Wareham base runners have reached scoring position. And swing and a miss there by Fosnot. Now a 2-2 count.
Yeah, that's a good stat to point out. All 3 of the runners have been in scoring position, but the obvious, they haven't come home.
They are, of course, not hitting well with runners in scoring position. They are, looks like they're 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position today, as the ball fouled off Fosnot's foot, staying alive. As Shattuck stole second during that MacIver at bat, and then the next 3 went down for the Gatemen back in the 4th inning. And Nate Fosnot's a hitter who I personally was really excited to see him hit, as he was a .330 hitter back at George Washington this season. Like to see him get going here at the bottom of the lineup. One of those hitters that hasn't really gotten going yet this year at 2 for 8. Does have an RBI, though. And that one hit him right in the shoulder. And Fosnot shakes it off, heads down to first base. And now first and second here with one out for the Gatemen. And Nick Angelini, who's 1 for 1, is going to come in here.
Yeah, Angelini's in a good spot. You wonder if Don Sneddon may put the bunt sign on. With a right-handed hitter, you could push it down the first base line, sacrifice an out. There'd be 2 outs, but there would be a runner then 90 feet away in Sable. Not sure if that's what Sneddon wants to do, but it is an option.
It is an option, but, you know, Sable's so fast that most base hits will probably score him anyway.
That's also a good point.
Angelini also fast, as well as Fosnot. So maybe some inside the park home run potential here. As this one comes in outside to Nick Angelini.
That I have not seen on the Cape, I don't believe.
Well, with that deep center field, if one gets over the center fielder's head off the wall, you never know.
Robbie Metz, his only home run this past season at George Washington was an inside the park home run.
As the pitch comes in, grounded to short. Angelini's fast. Going to be a tough play for Frank. Gets it over to first just in time. As a delayed call by the umpire over there at first. He honestly didn't know.
Sam Finn was thinking about that until...
I'm pretty sure he had no idea. But there's 2 out now here in the 5th inning. But runners move over. Now 2 in scoring position for Wareham. It's Sable at third. And Fosnot at second. Angelini retired 6-3. Now Lockridge, the hitter. Fouls it down the first baseline. Out of play. Lockridge 0 for 2 with a strikeout swing in the first and a pop out to the first baseman back in the 3rd inning. Lockridge from Pensacola, Florida, hitting 5 for 17 this season. A Troy University product, the Trojans, down in southeast Alabama. Takes this one outside. A pretty big rival, actually, of the South Alabama Jaguars that Micah Coffey is a member of. So maybe these two, Micah Coffey and Lockridge, have seen each other in conference play, as this one's fouled away, 1-2. That's the Sun Belt Conference, I believe.
Sun Belt is one of the better ones we have.
Absolutely.
Conferences.
Absolutely, and when you look at, like, of course, the big 5 conferences that you have in football, those are really good. But then you have a lot of other baseball conferences that are right up there with them, and
very competitive.
And the Sun Belt is definitely one of them. Lockridge now facing a 1-2, strikes out swinging, and a good job by Michael Pertel to get out of this. 2 runners in scoring position. Jam, the woes continue with the Gatemen with runners in scoring position. They go down after 2 hits here in the 5th inning. We will go to the 6th here in Wareham with no score between the Hyannis Harbor Hawks and the Gatemen.
All-Star Game Weekend starts with a celebrity softball game on July 21st at McKeon Park in Hyannis. Come watch Jason Veritek, Bill Lee, Nancy Kerrigan, Scott Zolak, and other celebrities play ball in support of the Cape Cod Baseball League and Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital of Cape Cod. Gates open at 4 p.m. For more information and to buy tickets, go to allstarcapecod.org. That's allstarcapecod.org.
Grant Wolfram has entered the game for the Gatemen here in the top half of the 6th inning. The lefty, big guy out there.
He's 6'7", 224. Watch out if you're a Hyannis hitter. He relieves Joe Matulovic. He goes 5 innings, gives up only 1 hit, no earned, 1 walk. 2 Ks, and you're looking at Grant Wolfram again, 6'7" out of Davenport. He's a sophomore, or just finished up his sophomore season, rather. And when you're that tall, 6'7", left-handed pitcher, teams will want you. And surely the Tigers did back in 2015, drafted in the 17th round, 520th overall, but had a good year for Davenport in 17 starts.
Wolfram deals the lefty to the righty. And it's Brant Stallings taking a ball upstairs, or that was a strike high.
Yeah, Wolfram struck out 100 batters this past season in 93 innings.
Swing and a miss there by Stallings, and the count runs to 0-2 here. As Wolfram, a former teammate of Hyannis pitcher Michael Bertel at Central Michigan. Wolfram, swing and a miss. Ball gets by the catcher, Anchia, and advancing to first on the drop third strike is going to be Stallings. So he's on base for the second time today. That's a tough one there for Anchia. We know how good of a defensive catcher he is. Very uncharacteristic there. That'll be scored a pass ball.
And Wolfram also this year broke the school record for single season wins with 13, and with strikeouts again, like I said, 100. So he had a very productive season for Davenport.
Grant Wolfram is from a tiny town in the middle of Michigan, Hamilton, Michigan, graduating in 2019. Bunt comes on. Calling off the pitcher is the third baseman, McIver, over to Sable. And one is retired here in the 6th inning. Advancing to second on the play is Brant Stallings, who got there on the drop third strike.
Yeah, nice job there from Jalila, who bunts one down, and Stallings moves to second. This is what Hyannis needs, because their offense again has just been struggling. They need those runs. They are last in the league in batting average, on base percentage. They have the 4th least run score. They only have 4 total runs all season.
Reese Hampton is 0 for 2, and he's the leadoff hitter. Coming in to face Wolfram, grounded. Diving play by McIver, and he can't make the transfer, but he holds the runner at second by making that play. So a great play by McIver may have prevented Brant Stallings from scoring right there. So the runner is now on first and second in Hampton and Stallings for Grant Wolfram, who just entered the game for Matulovic, who was red hot earlier in this game. A tough position for Wolfram to be in a 0-0 game.
And that one will be ruled a hit. Just a tough transfer over there by McIver. But yeah, a tough situation here for Wolfram. First and second, one out. You're looking for a double play ball here of some sort.
Daniel Robinson is 0 for 1 with a walk today. And Wolfram calls time. Now the lefty in the stretch, getting ready to deal with one out in the 6th inning to Daniel Robinson, who fouled the ball off his foot, and a good breaking ball there on the outside corner from Wolfram is a strike. Count now 0-1. We mentioned that Robinson fouled that ball off his foot and shook it off and was able to work a walk back in the 4th inning. Wolfram, the tall 6'7" lefty. On the inside corner, another good pitch there from Grant Wolfram.
That's the breaking ball pitch right there. He went outside breaking ball, then went inside breaking ball. Hit his spot perfectly on both pitches.
3 complete games for Grant Wolfram this year at Davenport in Michigan. 0-2 coming up to Daniel Robinson. Swung on and fouled away. Good pitch, good piece of hitting by Robinson, fighting that fastball off after seeing breaking ball.
I mean, Wolfram, you could just call him a horse. Again, 93 and a third innings pitched.
13-2 record. That's one of the best records we've seen on the Cape so far this year. Doesn't really matter where you're playing. If you have a 13-2 record,
you're doing something right.
Absolutely. It means you're putting your team in position to win games. As Matulovic did just that, as this one's grounded through the right side. Good play by Sabobo under his glove for a base hit. Grounding the corner at third and scoring will be Brant Stallings, and it's 1-0 Hyannis here in the 6th inning.
Robinson with a nice piece of hitting. Obviously that ankle of his not deterring from that swing. On the ground right through the right side, and Stallings comes around to score. Hyannis finds that run they've been looking for, and they're up.
Well, we mentioned Matulovic came in here and was lights out for 5 innings today. And it's got to be tough for him to be looking at this game right now and seeing that his team didn't get many run support, and now his team trails here after his great performance. And Grant Wolfram all of a sudden struggling here with 1 out, and now runners in the corners facing Tyler Frank, who's been one of the best hitters for Hyannis so far this year. That pitch was just high on Frank. Frank, a little guy coming in here, the righty, number 14 in blue, playing short today, coming into this at-bat 2 for 13 with 2 runs batted in for Hyannis. I mentioned that he was one of the best hitters at 2 for 13. That's because Hyannis really has not. That was just their 5th run of the season that you just saw. The lefty Wolfram against the righty. Breaking ball, waited on just a little bit too much by Frank. Fouled it off a little bit late down the right field line. Count runs to 1-1. Runners on the corners. It's Robinson on first. Reese Hampton is on third.
And the reason why that Stallings run scored hurts is because that was on a drop third strike pass ball.
Absolutely.
Normally that wouldn't happen, but Anchia lost the grip on it.
Grant Wolfram with that lefty pickoff attempt over to first base. And getting back in time is Daniel Robinson. Count run remains at 1-1 on Tyler Frank, who started all 57 games for the Florida Atlantic Owls this year. Wolfram, the big right lefty deals, and this one's driven into the gap in right center field, and it's off the wall. 1 run is going to score, and here holding is the second runner, Robinson. He will stop at third, and he's safe at third as they try to throw it back and get him as a RBI double for Tyler Frank. His 3rd RBI of the season has Hyannis up 2-0.
Well, that ball was absolutely smoked out to the gap in right center field. Great power shown by Tyler Frank. It's his 2nd double of the season. Was coming in batting 182, and he surely sent that one a long way.
So a RBI double for Tyler Frank. And the bullpen woes for the Gatemen continue this season. But it's really been the hitting that's been the problem for Wareham today. As we're here in the 6th inning sitting here, and they're being shut out so far as a pitch comes in outside to Brendan Donovan, the cleanup hitter, who is 1 for 11 so far this season. He'd like to turn that average around with a 2 RBI knock to the outfield here. Pitch comes in low, 2-0. Donovan from South Alabama. Today is the designated hitter, the lefty on the lefty, Grant Wolfram. 2-0 pitch coming in, breaking ball, and swung on and missed in the dirt by Brendan Donovan. Fooled him there.
Well, no one warming up in the Wareham bullpen, so Don Snedden and Jim Lawler going to make Wolfram work here, at least for a little bit longer.
This is his inning here in the 6th after Matulovic was lights out for the first 5. Pitch comes in, gets by Anchia, and scoring from third is Robinson easily on, that will probably be scored I don't know, it was a borderline wild pitch / pass ball. Looked like it.
And it's a pass ball all the way. In my opinion, it was, and the scorer says the same thing. Had it in his glove, then just went through his legs all the way to the backstop, and it was a fastball low and couldn't handle it.
Tough one there for Anchia, as now it's 3-0 Hyannis here in the 6th inning. And now all of a sudden a 3-1 count. Advancing to third on that play as well was Tyler Frank, so he's now sitting 90 feet from home with 1 out here in the 6th inning. Wolfram, pitch on the outside corner, getting back to a full count here on Brendan Donovan, who's 0 for 2. But any hit will score Tyler Frank from third. That pass ball we mentioned, and that one's flown out to left field. This could score a run, but it's going to be a close play. Topa makes the play. Tagging is the runner at third. They go to home, and they gunned him. What a play by Topa to the catcher, Anchia. In the double play, ends the inning. A big play there from John Topa. And they get out of it with just 3 runs, but Hyannis does add those 3 runs here in the 6th inning. We'll go to the bottom half, and it's 3-0 Hyannis over Wareham here on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming out to the ballpark tonight. The visiting seat and the
Welcome back here. It's the bottom half of the 6th inning here in Wareham. Michael Bertel back out for the 6th inning, but we'll take a quick game break over to our sideline reporter, Claudia Chikamian.
Thanks, guys. Sorry about that. So we have some updates around the Cape. Harwich at Falmouth finally has score action. Falmouth has come back. They scored 3 runs in the 3rd inning and now have taken the lead 6-5 in the 5th inning. Catuit and Chatham. Catuit has a 1-run lead over Chatham, 1-0 in the top of the 4th inning. And YD at Orleans is still scoreless in the bottom of the 3rd. Back to you guys for this game.
And the Gatemen gave up 3 runs here in the top half of the 6th inning, and now Andy Shattered, who is 0 for 1 with a walk, takes a strike on the inside corner. It's a 1-1 count on the 2-hitter. We haven't seen any runs here from the Gatemen. We haven't really seen much from their lineup in general today. What do they got to do differently against this really good pitcher, Michael Bertel?
Just got to get on base a little bit more. Play that small ball that Connor Federico was talking about pregame.
Mentioned they were 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position going into that last inning. They had a few chances with runners in scoring position in that last inning, with going 0 for 2 in that inning with runners in scoring position. That ball is grounded to third. A good play by the third baseman, Coffey, over to first, 5-3. Shattered is retired. He's 0 for 2. And 1 out here in the 6th as the outs are running out for Wareham.
It's a nice play by Coffey at third. He spun to his left. Same thing with Tyler Frank a couple innings ago. He spun and threw out a batter. And like we said, the small ball was working for the Gatemen, so if you want to continue to do that, and then the only thing they'd have to improve on is just scoring those runs. Again, 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. But if you get the small ball working, the runs will be there.
I hate to correct you, but it just makes the stat that much worse. It's 0 for 5 so far with runners in scoring position today. Or 0 for 6, actually. I had to correct myself there. 0 for 6 today with runners in scoring position are the Gatemen, as this pitch to Willie McIver outside 2-0. McIver has the last 4 RBIs for Wareham. All 4 in yesterday's doubleheader against Chatham. Pitch up high, 3-0 now on McIver. And when you're down by 3 here, he'll probably be taking all the way to try to get that runner on first, as the pitcher, Michael Bertel, calls time. And we mentioned we haven't seen, this is the first time we've seen a pitcher go longer than 5 innings this season. Bertel deals on just inside, and a 4-pitch walk on Willie McIver. Has a base runner on with 1 out here for Wareham. This is now the 4th consecutive inning that they've had base runners. They just have not been able to get the big hit today. Nor was Hyannis until that last inning where they put 3 on the board. And here comes Hyannis's coach, Gassman, to take the ball from Bertel. And that'll do it. A great performance, though, for Michael Bertel. He goes 5 in a 3rd inning, giving up no runs on just 3 hits today. So we'll take a quick break here as the Hyannis Harbor Hawks are going to the bullpen. It's a 3-0 lead for Hyannis here on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Ethan Larison is the pitcher for Hyannis, and we saw him back in the opening day against Wareham, and Larison coming in relief for the starter Brattell, who went 5 1/3 strong. Larison coming from Indiana State University, from the Indianapolis suburbs. And fastball, curveball, changeup coming from Larison, and is the only Indiana State player so far out here in the Cape League. This year went 3-2 with a 3.13 ERA and no home runs allowed. We saw him back in game 1 of this season between Wareham and the Harbor Hawks. I'll get the stats on that as I flip back.
Keep flipping. I'll talk for a second, huh? How about
season.
that? No, just kidding. Keep going.
Ethan Larison in game 1 of this season went 1 inning, giving up 1 hit, striking out 2 and walking 2. So he did face some trouble against this Wareham lineup. Just didn't give up that big hit. And that's been the story of the day, is they haven't been able to get that big hit.
No, Brattell did a nice job. I think, 5 and a third
did.
innings, 3 hits, no earned, 1 walk, 3 Ks. His command was excellent, to say the least, and he just really kept the Gatemen hitters guessing all night.
He did great, but a few stolen bases, a few sacrifices got the Gatemen with a few runners in scoring position this game, and they have not been able to get him across. So we'll see if this fresh face on the mound can do something here. And it's going to be Jake Anchia, who struggles continue at the plate now. To start it off here with 1 on and 1 out here in the 6th inning, Willie McIver was just walked. That's what forced Brattell out of the game. And Jake Anchia is 1 for 14 this year. Flew out to right in the 2nd, popped up to the first baseman in the 4th.
Want to say hello to Mrs. Nicole Dias watching on YouTube, the wife of our PA announcer, the best in the Cape Cod Baseball League, Dan Dias.
Certainly does a great job. I've only heard him for a few games, but
oh man, he is
incredible.
Exceptional.
The inflection on his voice is just elite. As that one comes in on the outside corner, a good pitch from the new pitcher, Larison. As some craziness going down below us.
Yeah, talk about that noise.
Jake Anchia, the righty, trying to work his 2nd hit of the season here. Hitting 1 for 14. Slaps this one to 3rd. This could be 2. On to 2nd and on to 1st for the inning-ending double play. Coffee to Jalila to Stallings. And the Hyannis Harbor Hawks get out of it. A good job done there by Ethan Larison, getting out of it pretty quickly. Gatemen leave no men on base. They still trail 3-0 to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks here on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
The Wareham Gatemen and the visiting team, the Cape Cod Baseball League and the NCAA promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation and positive support of the participants and officials. Profanity, racial or sexist comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from this ballpark.
Welcome back. Here is the top half of the 7th inning now as we enter the final third of this game. Grant Wolfram back out there after giving up the 3 runs back in the 6th inning. And it's going to be Micah Coffey, the 3rd baseman, stepping in for his 3rd at-bat of the day. Coffey coming in 4 for 13 with no RBIs this year. Breaking ball comes in just outside 1-0 from Wolfram.
Well, last inning we saw Miller Hogan warming in the bullpen, the St. Louis product. We'll see if we see him tonight for the first time as Wolfram struggled last inning.
Hogan, a recent arrival, one of the most recent arrivals for the Gatemen, along with Wake Forest pitcher Griffin Roberts.
Yeah, excited to see Roberts pitch. He was Wake Forest's closer, and he just was straight filthy.
He was electric this year, 2-0 now, coming in on the outside corner, 2-1. And you see the hitter Micah Coffey talking to the umpire there about that one. We don't usually see Cape League hitters arguing with umpires too much directly, but he did there. Breaking ball way inside from Wolfram, 3-1. His command has not looked too strong so far on the bump here at Spillane Field in Wareham, Massachusetts. On this, what has turned out to be a decent Monday night. This one's driven out to right field. Coming on is Bonfield, shallow right, and he makes the play. 1 out. It was pretty foggy and rainy earlier here. Not really rainy, but sprinkly, kind of occasional showers.
Muggy,
here and there.
I would say.
Muggy is a great word to describe it. But it's really cleared up. The wind has kind of died down a little bit. And it turned out to be a pretty decent night here in Wareham. As now Micah Coffey's fly out brings up Dominic DiCaprio, who is also 0 for 2 with 2 flyouts today. The middle of this lineup for Hyannis has struggled. The 4, 5, 6, 7 hitters have combined 0 for math. 0 for 9 so far. He's first. As the pitch comes in for a strike on DiCaprio right down the middle from Wolfram, 0-2 now. On the catcher out of Rice University in Houston. Hit .366 this year with a .946 on base plus slugging as he swings and misses at an inside pitch from Wolfram. A good pitch there. Probably his best so far. Blew it by him. And there's 2 out here in the 7th inning as Wolfram looks like he's settling in a little bit, but still has a batter to face here in the 7th.
Yeah, DiCaprio strikes out there. He's now 0 for 6 on his season so far with the Harbor Hawks. Nice spot there from Wolfram. Fastball inside, blew it right by DiCaprio.
Here's Robert Newstrom, who is playing in the Cape League, and this is probably as the pitch comes from Wolfram, low in the dirt. This is a guy who plays in Iowa, who's played in Iowa his entire career. From Sioux City, Iowa, plays at the University of Iowa, and played for the Waterloo Bucks in Waterloo, Iowa, last year with 4 home runs and 39 RBIs. So coming out to the Cape, it's a lot different here than in Iowa as he flies this one out to left field. Tough play in the Bermuda Triangle, and sliding over to, it's a fair ball and no play made, and the runner advances to second. A really tough play there as the ball was in a tough spot as it's Newstrom on second.
Yeah, Topa had an issue out in left field. He almost made the play, just popped out of the glove, I think, or was just short of the glove. We had a telephone pole blocking that view. He literally went right behind the telephone pole.
That's got to be tough for Grant Wolfram with 2 outs in this inning. Now a runner in scoring position. Probably the contact that he wanted on that at-bat, just not in the right spot. Really a tough spot for that ball to land right down the line. We heard Connor Federico mentioning the Bermuda Triangle during Game 1's broadcast yesterday. And it is that area down the line between the outfielder and the corner infielder.
That's where communication is needed the most, I think.
Absolutely, and even with communication, it's sometimes very hard to get over there in time as Wolfram deals an 0-1 pitch. And Brant Stallings was hacking at quite the pitch there in the dirt. And the count runs to 0-2 on Stallings, who scored the first run of this game. He reached on a drop third strike back in that 6th inning and then was the first run for Hyannis just an inning ago. Here he is, still got his first hit back in the 3rd inning. And the pitch just inside, laying off. So Wolfram now working, still in a pitcher's count at 1-2 against Brant Stallings, who's 1 for 9 this year. 1 for 9, that's 111. Breaking ball outside, clearly. 2-2. With a runner on second here in the 7th inning, the Gatemen have yet to get a runner across the plate. They trail the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 3-0, which was the score of the opening day game between these two teams. Wolfram, the 6'7" lefty, checking on Newstrom at second for quite a while. Now deals in the stretch, grounded down the line, foul.
Watch out, head coach Chad Gassman. That's the second time he has to scat out of the way.
That one a little bit less frightening for Gassman, as the first one coming off the bat of Daniel Robinson, the lefty, was a line drive that just whizzed over his head.
Hey, it's all scary to me. I'd never be out there, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, a hard ground ball to the foot still does not feel very good, for sure. As Brant Stallings, a very upright batting stance, facing Wolfram. Breaking ball, great pitch there, swung on and missed, and Wolfram gets out of this inning with just a hit allowed. They leave a man on base, the Hyannis Harbor Hawks do, and will go to the bottom half of the 7th inning, get up and stretch here at Spillane Field. 3-0 Hyannis over the Gatemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we'd like to thank our friends at BB's Bar and Grill.
When you're sick or injured, you want care when and where it's convenient for you. South Coast Health Urgent Care has 4 locations: Fairhaven, Wareham, and now in Seekonk and Dartmouth. You can view wait times and even check in online at southcoast.org/urgent-care. Choose the time and location that's best for you. We'll even remind you when it's time to come in, and walk-ins are always welcome. Urgent care that exists to meet your needs. More than you expected? That's more than medicine. Check in at southcoast.org/urgent-care.
Ethan Larison back on the mound for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, and he's facing Luke Bonfield out of Arkansas here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. The Wareham Gatemen still trailing 3-0 against Hyannis, and they have not scored in quite a while now, dating back to last night, back in the 4th inning. So that's, well, in a shortened game, in a 7-inning game, that's now 9 consecutive innings in which the Gatemen have not scored.
Look at that as a full game.
It is a full game, and some good pitching against them, but they need to figure out how to get those clutch hits. They've had a lot of runners in scoring position today. And Larison now working on an 0-1 count against Sabol, who grounds one hard to third. Routine for Coffey, over to Stallings, one down quickly. Here in the 7th, and the Gatemen all of a sudden have 8 outs to work with, down by 3 runs. Excuse me, that was Bonfield, not Sable. Now Sable is up.
Yeah, Sable singled his last time up back in the 5th, and you mentioned it, 8 more outs left to go, and 3 runs still doable with those 8 outs.
Luke Bonfield struggling so far. He's now 0 for 8 this year for Wareham since coming up from Fayetteville. Made his debut in Game 1 of the Chatham doubleheader yesterday, and this lefty Sable had an impressive single back in the 5th inning. Reached second on a sacrifice bunt, and then got to third on a ground out from Nick Angelini back in the 5th, but was unable to score. Sable, pitch in the dirt, 1-1 on the USC product. Sable coming in with 3 RBIs today. We're seeing him at first base today. Can also play in the outfield and can catch. We haven't really seen him at catcher as he swings and misses at that one. Now he's behind on the count 0-2. Had a .250 average this year with Southern California. 100 at-bats. 26 for 38 stolen bases. We mentioned his speed earlier in the game. Sable swings and pops this one up foul over the Hyannis dugout on the third base side. 1-2. The fog was rolling in quite a bit yesterday in Chatham. It's a little bit foggy today, but not nearly. Just for reference, not nearly as bad as it was in Chatham yesterday. It was crazy out there.
And it's been worse in Chatham before that, last year.
Any worse than that? Have you seen? I mean, it's probably a cancellation, correct? Or a delay?
Yeah, definitely. We saw it last year happen. It's been a problem over there at Veterans Field.
Sable strikes out looking at an outside corner pitch from the pitcher Larison. A good pitch there. Looked like the fastball there. 2 outs now in the 7th inning, and Wareham running out of time here to tie this game up. It's John Topa coming in, had a sacrifice bunt back in the 5th inning. Struck out swinging in the 3rd, so Topa in a big spot here.
Nice piece of pitching there from Larison. Nice spot on the outside part of the plate with a fastball away.
Topa takes a ball on a breaking ball outside. Topa coming into this at-bat, 6 for 16 with 2 runs batted in. The UConn product, John Topa, has played in every game for Wareham this year. And I also believe that he's played in the 7th hole in every game but 1. So we mentioned the interesting placement of the lineup order for head coach Don Snedden, putting John Topa, one of the returners here, and the 7th hole, playing in left field today. Fouled that one off, and now we have a 1-1 count here from Ethan Larison. Larison did struggle in his 1 inning against Wareham in the home opener for Hyannis. Pitch comes low. He didn't give up any runs, but a hit and 2 walks in that inning, was able to escape it. And that's been the story of the year for Wareham thus far. We will continue to talk about it until they change it. It's the clutch hitting right now. But right now in the 7th inning, they need to get a guy on base before they can knock him in. And they trail by 3. Topa swings and drives this one out to deep center field. Going back is Hampton, and it's over his head. Turning to second is Topa. He'll probably stop there. He will, as it comes in a 2-out double for John Topa, as he smacked that one out to center. Out to the 412 sign.
Yeah, he didn't just smack it. He mashed it out to the 412 sign. And a nice piece of hitting there with 2 outs for John Topa. Scouts were saying that he has a knack for timely hitting, and surely this is a time where the Gatemen need some runs here. Got a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. Now Nate Fosnot coming to the plate, and DiCaprio is going to go out and talk to Larison for a quick moment.
DiCaprio, the catcher, settling down his pitcher after a 2-out hit. DiCaprio out of Rice University. Fosnot out of George Washington University. The Ephrata, Pennsylvania native steps in. I'm sorry, I don't know where that one is in Pennsylvania relative to the cities, but that one's outside. A ball on Nate Fosnot, a 1-0 count on Fosnot, who only trailed in batting average to his teammates Robbie Metz and Joey Bartosik, one a former Gateman and one a current Gateman, and Robbie Metz. So an impressive squad of Wareham Gatemen out there for the George Washington Colonials, as the count's now 2-0 on Nate Fosnot.
Yeah, Bartosik obviously getting drafted by the Rockies. I'm sure former head coach Jerry Weinstein had a say in that one with the Rockies organization.
A .332 average was only good for 3rd on his team. That just shows the kind of hitting that GW was capable of this year. Pitch comes in on the outside corner, and Larison working it back to a 2-1 count on the righty. Nate Fosnot is 1 for 2. Singled back in the 5th. And grounded out to the first baseman unassisted back in the 3rd. Fosnot is just 3 for 8 this year. Grounded up the middle. Tough play for the shortstop, off his body and into center field. Coming around third base to score is John Topa. It's 3-1. You know, a good play there by the shortstop, Tyler Frank, to stop that. He almost made a good play on it, but if that had gone into center field, Topo likely would have scored anyway. So Frank booting that, halting the play, but an RBI single for Nate Fosnot has the Wareham Gatemen on the board on Ethan Larison. We mentioned his struggles against Wareham in the first game, and they continue here in the 7th inning with 2 outs.
Yeah, it's a tough hop.
Very tough hop up the middle there on Tyler Frank. Definitely scored a single. Pitch comes in for a strike on the 9-hitter Nick Angelini, who is 1 for 2 today. Nate Fosnot is on first, and he can definitely steal a base. And in this situation, down by 2 runs, get that guy over to scoring position with 2 outs. That'd be a big stolen base for Nate Fosnot right now if he can pull that off. Angelini facing the righty. Another good pitch on the outside corner, a fastball, 2-2.
Well, don't know if he'll go for the stolen base here. Would be an interesting move. It would make sense, but it also may get thrown out, and that'll end the inning. So
absolutely
want to be smart about this.
And of course, Angelini is the tying run here. Breaking ball hung it and grounded to short, or grounded to second, onto the shortstop, Frank, and that retires the side here in the 7th inning. The Gatemen get 1 run back, but trail the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 3-1 here on the Gatemen Baseball Network. We'll go to the 8th.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1991, holds over 600 events nationwide for players ages 8 through 18, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, plus 400 have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
Back here in the top half of the 8th inning, and that last RBI by Nate Fosnot has the Gatemen down 3-1. That last RBI was the first RBI by a Gateman not named Willie McIver since the 9th inning of the Falmouth game, when Brandon Lockridge had an RBI single in the magical 9th inning for Wareham that game that resulted in a walk-off base hit by Willie McIver. So that RBI belongs to Nate Fosnot, but the Gatemen still have some work to do. They trail by 2. Grant Wolfram is back out, and he gives up a hard ground ball to short. Good play there by the shortstop Fosnot over to first, and a big stretch by the first baseman Sable with those long legs over there at first base, making the play. 1 out here in the 8th inning on Hyannis.
Number 13, Reese Hampton from UNC.
That was the 9-hitter Jalila there, and Reese Hampton entering the box here for the Harbor Hawks, and now the umpires are discussing something here as they're trying to find out maybe if Sable's foot came off the bag there on that ground out. As the runner, Jalila, is waiting over there on the first baseline. They're discussing it with each other. They call him out. So they confirm what they already called. I don't know how they would overturn it. They don't have any instant replay system here in the Cape League, so
definitely not.
There might have been a
trying to keep games as quick as possible down here.
Well, with this screen right in front of us, you never know what this thing's capable of. We can get some instant replay going in the future for our broadcast. Hopefully, that's something that will be seen here on the Gatemen Baseball Network later in this season. As this one's lined into center field on the first pitch of the at-bat to Reese Hampton for a base hit. So after Jalila goes down 6-3, Reese Hampton's on board for his second hit of the night.
Yeah, like I said in the pregame show, he's really important to this Hyannis team. He's 2 for 4 tonight with 2 singles, came around to score back in the 6th and finds himself on first base again, and he's got a lot of speed, and with one out, I would not be surprised to get some insurance runs, try to get a runner in scoring position. He would maybe steal a base here.
It'll be interesting to see how tight of a leash pitching coach Jim Lawler has on Wolfram here. This is his third inning of work. And in a 2-run game, it's very important that you keep it that way. Wolfram pitches a changeup up high, 1-0.
Yeah, Wareham has its top of the lineup coming out, Lockridge, Shadid, and McIver, and you really want to do damage there. So get out of this inning quickly and head to your lineup. Try to get something going.
Wolfram, the Davenport College product, throws over to first on a pickoff attempt, and Reese Hampton scurries back pretty easily. 1-0 now coming up on Daniel Robinson, who singled back in the 6th inning and then scored on a pass ball. And this one's driven out to center field and deep. Going back is Angelini. He's chasing it down. It's off the wall. Rounding third, there's going to be a play at the plate coming home. And the throw, the tag is made, and the tag knocks the ball out of the glove of Anchia, so the runner is safe.
Wow, what a throw from Angelini right to the glove of Anchia. But the momentum of the runner just knocked the ball right out of the glove. That was a beautiful throw from center field.
And if you're Anchia, you've got to make that play. Unfortunately, tough for him there, as flying down the line was the leadoff hitter Hampton. So an RBI double for Daniel Robinson. He advances to third on the throw. And now more trouble for Grant Wolfram here.
Well, pitching coach Jim Law is going to go out and talk to his pitcher. Probably try to calm him down. He's trying to work out of this jam right now with a runner at third and only one out in the inning. And Tyler Frank, the third hitter in the lineup, coming up. He RBI double back in the 6th, so Lawler just trying to calm him down.
And those last 2 hits, Robinson just smacked that ball about as deep as you can go here in the park without hitting it over the fence. And Angelini covers a ton of ground, so you know that anytime he can't reach a fly ball like that out in the outfield, it's a pretty well-hit ball. So Tyler Frank is the next hitter. Jim Lawler taking his time out there on the mound, and now it's going to be a new pitcher. So we will take a quick break as the pitching change comes in. We will get to that in a second, but the Hyannis Harbor Hawks lead the Gatemen 4-1 here in the top half of the 8th inning. The former Kansas High School Pitcher of the Year has entered the game. It's Miller Hogan coming on for his Gateman debut. Right-hander out of the St. Louis University. They call it SLU out there. Playing for the Billikens this season, was an A-10 All-Rookie.
SLU. I like it.
They do call it SLU. I've heard SLU just over and over again. 2016 was an A-10 All-Rookie, 3.27 ERA. Just 59 strikeouts to 22 walks for Miller Hogan. 90s fastball, curveball, and a changeup. And this year was drafted in the 32nd round by the Milwaukee Brewers, but decided to come here to Wareham. Excuse me.
Hey.
That was a big one. That's the first time I've done that this season.
You gotta watch out.
You just never know when it could slip out like that. As Tyler Frank stepping in here with a runner on third as Robinson advanced to third on that double on the throw to the plate. And Frank takes a strike 0-1. Miller Hogan, an Overland Park, Kansas native, which is in the Kansas City suburbs. Anywhere else in Kansas is not, there's really not many people out there, so the majority of the population pushed over to that east coast of Kansas. The righty Miller Hogan facing Frank. Popped up, kind of in no man's land. Coming on is fast Angelini. It's going to drop. Base hit for Frank, and that's going to score Robinson from third pretty easily. That one looked like trouble all the way.
Yeah. Angelini was coming in as fast as he possibly could. Thought Lockridge would maybe go out and give it a try, but not in time. It was just hit perfectly up in the air. Angelini couldn't make the play. RBI single for Frank, and Robinson scores 5-1. It's going to be tough to come back if you're the Wareham Gatemen.
I hate to single out Brandon Lockridge there, but he did have 15 errors at Troy this year. Not the best defensive player on this team, but he is at second base now in this game. He's played second for most of this season. Has also seen the DH gig a little bit as a pickoff attempt from Hogan. And stepping in now is going to be Brandon Donovan, who's 0 for 3 today. The cleanup hitter is now just 1 for 12 on his season. So similar to the Wareham cleanup hitter, the Hyannis cleanup hitter is struggling as the pitch, a good pitch there from Hogan on the outside corner. And Hogan expected to be one of the top arms for Wareham this year coming in here. And immediately when the roster came out a few months ago, his name stuck out. The St. Louis University product. And this pickoff attempt, the second one of this at bat over as Tyler Frank is the runner on first base.
Yeah, in the 8-10 tourney, Hogan couldn't get out of the second inning against St. Bonaventure, allowed 6 runs.
It's amazing that teams like St. Louis and St. Bonaventure are in the same conference. St. Louis and Missouri, St. Bonaventure all the way up in upstate New York. Just a lot of traveling. And they're also in the same conference as Fordham in the Bronx. Just a lot of traveling for St. Louis out in the A-10 conference, the Atlantic 10 that is, and they're not anywhere near the Atlantic Ocean. 1-2 now coming up on Brandon Donovan.
Yeah, I expect you to have an answer to why that's called the Atlantic 10, but do you?
I do not. I'm sorry.
We got to research
I do know that Fordham University has the most wins and losses of any NCAA program.
Wow.
Also, of course, Vin Scully, a product of Fordham, as well as Yankees.
Bless that school then, huh? Wow.
Yeah, of course, and as well as Yankees play-by-play broadcaster Michael Kay. So,
one of my favorite broadcasters, I'd say.
Michael Kay?
Yeah, in my opinion. Yeah.
Nice. So that's big words for a Red Sox fan right there. As a 2-2 count coming in on Donovan.
What can I say? Yeah, Miller Hogan, though, his fastball tops out at 94, usually around 89 to 92, and got a couple breaking pitches that'll get you. Had a nice season for St. Louis, 3.39 strikeout to walk ratio.
2-2 coming from Miller Hogan, who gave up a bloop single, soft contact, however, to start his outing in the 8th inning. A slow breaking ball, runner goes, and even though the pitch was about 67 miles an hour, they still get him at second. So the side retired here in the 8th inning. Or excuse me, that's just 2 outs here in the 8th inning. Miller Hogan gets the second out, and remaining at the plate is Brendan Donovan here on a 3-2 pitch coming up. Miller Hogan facing the lefty, and Donovan fouls this one away, staying alive on a 3-2 count, forcing Hogan to throw a lot of pitches here in this at-bat, number 33 in white.
In high school, which was pretty filthy at Blue Valley High School, Miller Hogan in the 2014 Kansas State Tournament threw a perfect game and a no-hitter.
Wow. You love to see that from Miller Hogan here. That pitch inside, I guess, and heading down to first is Brendan Donovan. Miller Hogan's probably not going to like that call, but now a runner on first here.
Well, Michael Finn, the home plate umpire, not buying it. I thought that was a pretty close pitch there. Fastball inside, but nevertheless, now another runner on first.
So the walk to Donovan puts a runner on first. The Gatemen trailing 5-1 now here in the 8th inning, as they have scored just 2 runs in their last 14 innings of play, dating back to the first inning of that Chatham game. I would go back further than that into the first game, but I can't do that math right now. Mid-game here, 0-2 coming up on Micah Coffey, the left-hander. Coffey from University of Minnesota at Batavia, Illinois, a native in the Chicago suburbs. All Big Ten second team this season for Minnesota, the Golden Gophers. Grounded sharply down the first baseline and through for a base hit. Turning the corner at second is Donovan. He'll head to third and be in there. So we're now runners on the corners as Miller Hogan has come in and seen some pitching struggles here against this Hyannis lineup.
Yeah, Hogan lets up an RBI single to start off his outing. Then he walks Donovan. Coffey comes in and hits a single. And he finds himself with runners on the corners. 2 outs, though, and already a 5-1 game. You don't want to have any more runs across the board. Give your offense at least a fighting chance in the bottom of the 8th, but it's just not looking good right now. Hogan, settle down, take a deep breath, and just work on retiring Dominic DiCaprio, who's 0 for 6 in his Hyannis Harbor Hawk career so far.
Wareham Gatemen have lost 2 consecutive games. Both were yesterday. They were 2-1 heading into that doubleheader yesterday after a dramatic 4-3 victory here on the home opener against Falmouth. That game came on Saturday night. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball to Dominic DiCaprio. 0-1 on the catcher DiCaprio out of Rice. Runners on the corners, Miller Hogan. It's Donovan at third and Micah Coffey at first. Tyler Frank was thrown out, caught stealing, and that actually turned out to be a huge call for Hyannis. Was that steal? And you know, if that didn't happen, you'd probably be looking at a 6-1 game right now.
Yeah, that would definitely have scored 2 runs.
DiCaprio, a 1-1 count now against the righty, Miller Hogan from St. Louis University. Breaking ball is popped up. And calling off everyone is the center fielder, Angelini, but then calling off Angelini is Topa, and he's going to make the play.
Watch out.
It looked like both outfielders were calling off each other, but Topa ends up making the play to retire the side, but the Hyannis Harbor Hawks add 2 more runs here to make this a 5-1 game. The Gatemen have a chance here in the bottom half of the 8th inning here on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
We appreciate and thank the sponsors who support the Cape League and the 10 teams. Our corporate sponsors are the financial backbone of the league. It is with their support that we are able to preserve our long-standing tradition of providing the best family entertainment here on Cape Cod. On behalf of the visiting team, the Wareham Gatemen, league officers, and the entire Cape League family, we would like to announce and thank our 2017 corporate sponsors. With much appreciation, we recognize the Yawkey Foundation, Chatham Bars Inn, the Fuller Family Foundation, Dunkin' Donuts, Curry College, Cape Cod Healthcare, the 99 Restaurants, Coca-Cola Bottling of Cape Cod Potato Chips, Friendly's Ice Cream, Baseball Factory, Cape and Island License Plate, 47 Brand, Cape Cod 5 Cents Saving Bank, Stop and Shop, Peapod. We'll be back to you in the next inning for the second half of this outstanding list of loyal sponsors.
Welcome back here. It's the bottom half of the 8th inning, and Brandon Lockridge is going to lead off the inning here for the Gatemen out of Troy University. Coming into this at-bat 0 for 3 on the day, but has been one of the Gatemen more consistent hitters this year. Now 5 for 18 this season. Lockridge shows bunt. We know he can fly down the base paths, so attempting to bunt for a hit here would not be a bad idea in a 4-run game. Just get that first guy on base. Very important here for Brandon Lockridge now in an 0-1 count against Ethan Larison, who's still working. This is now his 3rd inning of work. Came in with 1 out in the 6th. Swing and a miss. So Lockridge now 0-2 quickly on him.
He's had a tough day. Struck out in the 1st, flew out to end the 3rd, and then struck out swinging to end the 5th.
Lockridge, the leadoff hitter. 0-2 on him, flown out to right field, and the center fielder is going to call it off, and that is Hampton to make the play. A little bit of confusion out there for the outfielders. Tough outing for Grant Wolfram today, Jacob.
Yeah, 3 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs. 5 earned, that is. Didn't walk anybody, though.
Of course, that last run that came in on Miller Hogan is credited to Wolfram, as Wolfram was the pitcher who put him on base. So all 5 of the Hyannis runs under the name of Grant Wolfram. He is in line for the loss unless Wareham can pull a comeback together here with 5 outs left to work with, as Andy Shatted is 0 for 2 and just 4 for 21 on his season so far. A lot of those hits came early on in the season in those first 2 games. So Shatted looking to turn things around here. Did walk back in the 4th inning, also stole a base. Facing an 0-1 count, Larison upstairs. Saw the same 2 pitchers here for Hyannis in the last game between these 2. And they both, we said Bertel how good he was, but Larison did struggle in his 1 inning. Did not give up any runs, but had a few walks. And
Yeah, a couple walks. Let up a hit.
Quick chopper over to 3rd. And Coffey to Stallings. And Shatted retired 5-3.
Yeah, not great contact today made by Wareham's lineup. A lot of grounders to Coffey over at 30. He's been busy today. Couple times some hitters have sent them out to the outfield, but not a lot of power sent out today.
Not a lot of hits either. Only 5 at this point in the game here in the bottom of the 8th. 2 of which came back in the 7th, scoring John Topa. The only run for Wareham, William McIver stepping in now. McIver, a rare 0 for 2 performance for him so far. So he's been red hot.
You're starting to expect a lot more after his start.
He set the expectation too high for him. Washington Husky takes a ball inside 2-0.
We were talking about a lot of Huskies on the Gatemen, both Washington and UConn.
Of course, you have at least you have 2 UConn Huskies in Topa and Fioli, and you have 3 UConn Huskies: Topa, Fioli, and Nepiarski, the other pitcher, Sam Nepiarski, the bullpen guy. And you have the 2 Washington Huskies, Ben Baird not in the lineup today, and here's McIver now staring at a 3-0 count. This is the 2nd time he's been up 3-0 this game. Last time he was up 3-0, he walked back in the 6th inning. So we'll see if he has the same approach, just take here on the 3-0 count. McIver in a 5-1 game takes ball 4 outside. Another 4-pitch walk on McIver, the 2nd 4-pitch walk for Michael Bertel on that particular batter. Maybe he's just intentionally walking McIver.
Yeah.
That's 8 pitches on him and 8 balls.
Yeah, that
Larison, not Bertel, excuse me.
Yeah, Larison walked McIver back in the 6th.
Jake Anchia catching for Wareham today. Steps in 0 for 3 today.
Yeah, grounded into that 5-4-3 double play to end the 6th.
He's been in some good spots as on the first pitch, a take, and they send McIver to second, and it wasn't even close. He's in there easily at second base, so looks like that's a thing that the Gatemen just decide, all right, well, McIver's on base. He's going to steal a base now because there's no way they're going to catch him.
That's his 4th stolen base of the season.
Impressive stuff from William McIver so far this season. He is 0 for 2 today, but does have 2 walks. And now, Anchia has a runner in scoring position. Anchia also had a runner in scoring position back in the 4th inning, but popped out to the first baseman. Stallings flew out to left back in the 2nd and hit into that double play, as Jacob just mentioned, in the 6th.
So McIver has 4 stolen bases. The entire Hyannis lineup for the season has 5.
Grounded, could go through the right side, and it does for a base hit. Rounding third is McIver. He's going to head home. Here's the play at the plate. It's cut off by the first baseman. An RBI single for Jake Anchia, his 2nd hit of the season. And the Gatemen are cooking here in the 8th. It's 5-2, with 2 out here in the 8th inning.
Yeah, nice job there from Anchia to drive it out right past the outstretched glove of Jalila at second base. McIver scores. McIver almost got thrown out, though, when he rounded first. But the first baseman, Stallings, was not there to cover. And Larson, who cut the throw off, had the ball, was ready to go over to first and tag him up, but no one was there to cover. Now head coach Chad Gassman is going to make a pitching change.
And we will take a quick break here for the pitching change. The Wareham Gatemen get a run here in the 8th. They have 1 more out to work with a runner first. They trail the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 5-2 on the Gatemen Baseball Network. And the new pitcher for Hyannis is Christian Tripp out of New Mexico. We saw him also in the first game. Tripp, the right-hander from Spring, Texas, will be graduating in 2019. That means he's going to be a junior next year. This year with the Lobos, 0-3 with a 5.14 ERA and a team-high 23 appearances. Christian Tripp is here to face the right-hander Luke Bonfield, who's 0 for 3 today, grounded out twice, once to the pitcher in the 4th and once to the third baseman back in the 7th. There's also a pinch runner in the game. It's Ben Baird, and now the ball gets away from the catcher, and Ben Baird's going to advance to second. As we mentioned, the pitch runner there for Jake Anchia, the catcher. So now a runner in scoring position with 2 out for Bonfield. And this is a guy coming in from Arkansas who's 0 for 8 so far this season, but now a chance to get a big hit here for Wareham. Bonfield swings and misses. 1-2 from Christian Tripp. Mostly a 1-inning guy at New Mexico. He mentioned his 23 appearances. Only 28 innings among those 23 appearances. Played for the Eau Claire Express last season with 11 saves. Was a closer out there. So the righty, Luke Bonfield, takes a ball outside. This one gets away from the catcher, and Barrett's going to get the third. So Ben Barrett just strolling around the bases here as he comes in as a pinch runner.
Yeah, comes in, advances twice in the inning. The only bad thing about the inning is that there's 2 outs. But the runner is 90 feet away now. See what Bonfield can do.
Bonfield swings and misses, strikes out swinging. So Bonfield's 0 for 4. He's now 0 for 9 in his Gatemen season. We'll go to the 9th. The Gatemen get a run on 1 hit. They trail the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 5-2 here on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Continuing with our corporate sponsors, we also want to recognize and thank Franklin Sports, Advanced Embroidery, Cape Destinations, Robert B. R., Sullivan Tire, Vacation Inn Cape Cod Veterinary Specialists, Cape Cod Times, Kinlan Grover Real Estate, Next Radio, Yellow Book, TSA, Rawlings, Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce, Highline Cruises, Sports Picks, On Deck Sports, Barnstable Bat, Hyannis Area Chamber of Commerce, HP Hood, Sunderland Printing, and Axis Bats. And of course, thank you to Major League Baseball for over 50 years of support. Coca-Cola Bottling of Cape Cod thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
Top half of the 9th inning here in Wareham. Sam Nepiarski, the new pitcher for the Gatemen, coming out to try to get these final 3 outs for the Gatemen, trying to give them a chance in the bottom half to get a comeback going on. And we saw a comeback back in the home opener. They scored 3 in the bottom half of the 9th to take a 4-3 win over Falmouth. Sam Nepiarski is the new pitcher. Has seen 1 inning of action in the game against Harwich back on June 15th. Through an inning, striking out 1. As he faces a lefty hitter, Robert Newstrom. What do you think Nepiarski's bringing here in the 9th?
He's just got to stop runs from scoring. It's pretty simple. Get 3 outs and get your batters back to the plate. Nepiarski with the New Bedford Bay Sox last summer, so he has experience playing summer ball.
Yesterday it was a starting pitching for the Gatemen not doing the job. Today it's the bullpen struggling to do the job. As this one's flown out to left field, Topa on the run. Circles around it and makes the play for the first out here in the 9th.
Thought that one would go out to the Bermuda Triangle. It was close, but then it drifted back. The wind might have had something to do with that one.
The wind not too heavy here in the press box, but it might be a lot heavier out there, about 10 feet in front of me.
That's what our sideline reporter, Claudia Chikamian, told us off the air. She said it's a little cold outside.
Yeah, she said to brace yourself for the post-game report coming up later.
Oh, fun.
Brant Stallings, the righty, digging in against Nepiarski, who's retired his first pitcher pretty quickly. Nepiarski coming from UConn. We mentioned his two teammates here. Thioli, who started the first game against Hyannis, and John Topa in left. Takes a strike, 1-1 on Brant Stallings.
This will be an important inning for Nepiarski. He is a temporary contract player right now. Pitched well at Harwich.
Flown out to right. This could be in the Bermuda Triangle, as this one coming on as the right fielder. Too deep for the Bermuda Triangle, and Luke Bonfield makes the play as something rattles here in the broadcast booth.
Watch out.
As that was Stallings going down for the third time today, except the one time he went down, he actually reached first on a drop third strike, and then ended up scoring the first run of the game for Hyannis. Dakota Jalila, the Jacksonville product, steps in. Righty facing the righty Nepiarski. The big leg kick and delivers up high. Nepiarski this year, 2.63 ERA at UConn. Played for the New Bedford Bay Sox last season. We saw them in preseason action. Was an all-star in the NECBL with a 2.18 ERA. A 1-1 count now going to come up on Jalila as the off-speed pitch goes in there to the new catcher, Kyle Noth. Noth coming in for Ben Baird. We don't think he can catch, so a good replacement there. Ben Baird, of course, pinch hitting for Jake Anchia back in the top half, or the bottom half of the 8th inning. 1-2 count coming up on the 9-hitter Jalila, who this is his second appearance for Hyannis this season. Fouls it away.
Oh, right into the Hyannis dugout.
Hopefully everyone in blue and orange is good over there for the Harbor Hawks. Formerly the Mets, they decided not to change their colors and scheme after when they changed to the Harbor Hawks. Still the blue, still the infamous Mets blue and orange. Their home jerseys still kind of resemble those Mets uniforms, and the font.
They do.
Nepiarski, the curveball, swung on and fouled away into the cage on the first base side.
Really tough to see right now through the camera as it's getting a lot more foggy out there if you're looking at the screen.
Not sure what it looks like on a good TV screen. The screen that we have in front of us is black and white, so very hard to see. But we're obviously looking at the game in real life, so we don't need to use the screen. Righty on righty. Lined up the middle for a base hit. That's Dakota Jalila's first hit of the game and his first hit of the season.
Well, Nepiarski was so close to going 1-2-3 and getting out of the 9th. But the Harbor Hawks have just found a way tonight, and that's something that they've had trouble with this season so far, and they are doing exactly that tonight.
Harbor Hawks have reached safely in the last 4 innings. They had runners come across in the 6th and the 8th, 3 in the 6th, 2 in the 8th. Also had a runner in scoring position back in the 7th. It was Newstrom. And now the leadoff hitter, Reese Hampton, back up for his 5th at-bat here in the 9th inning. Hampton 2 for 4 today, hitting to a 4-6-3 double play back in the 3rd, but has scored 2 runs as the pickoff attempt from Nepiarski goes over to first. Nothing doing for Jalila. Reese Hampton, 2 singles today, is now 7 for 19 this year. Stolen runner goes, and the throw from Noth is a little bit errant, a little bit high, and there's no chance for the shortstop Fosnot to make a play. He did a good job cutting it off, preventing it from getting into the outfield, but the runner gets to second on the stolen base by Dakota Jalila. And that's big. Runner now in scoring position.
Yeah, that's huge.
And with his speed, a base hit probably gets Jalila across with 2 outs. Nepiarski, the righty. Dealing to the lefty, swung on and fouled away, knocking the glove off of Kyle Noth's hand. What's the story with the catchers this year? There's a lot of catchers on this roster. Kyle Noss coming in relief a few times, but what do you think it is about Jake Anchia that keeps getting him the starts behind the plate?
I think he just controls the ball pretty well behind the plate. He seems very comfortable.
Of course, defense a lot more important than offense for the catching position.
But it's nice to have both.
Absolutely.
Especially at the major league level.
Absolutely.
Those guys are really looked upon as great commodities for a Major League Baseball team, and obviously these guys down here want to work on both defense and offense. I think the best offensive catcher that the Gatemen have, obviously McIver.
Absolutely. I was about to mention McIver, also a catcher, but also a great corner infielder. He's just a great defender, a great player all around. This one off the glove of Nepiarski, and he's not going to be able to make the play. Makes an errant throw, and that's going to score a run. A very ill-advised play by Nepiarski there, as the runner at first was going to be safe anyway. He just chucked it over there to first base, and Jalila is going to score. It's a 6-2 game.
Yeah, not smart baseball there from Nepiarski. He maybe should have not even tried to get the little liner off his glove and let the second baseman Lockridge handle it, because if Lockridge got to it, he probably would have retired the inning. But instead, a run scores on an errant throw, and now it's a 4-run ball game, 6-2, and this all happening with 2 outs, which is never a good thing. I mean, Nepiarski was so close to getting out of the inning with 2 outs.
Nepiarski drew 2 quick flyouts from Newstrom and Stallings, but now a runner on first and one run already across. And the batter now is Daniel Robinson, the left fielder. Doubled back in the 8th, singled in the 6th, walked in the 4th. He's 2 for 3 today. Pickoff attempt over to first. Not quite in time, as Nepiarski should probably just focus on this batter here. 1 more out for the Gatemen pitching staff to work with here. And then 3 outs for the hitters to try to mount a 4-run rally, at least 4-run rally in the 9th. Daniel Robinson facing in 1-0 count. Swing is grounded to second. Lockridge routine to first. Sable, and the side retired, but the Harbor Hawks add a run on an errant throw by Sam Nepiarski. 6-2 is the score. Hyannis leads the Gatemen heading to the bottom half of the 9th on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
The Fuller Family Foundation is proud to support the excellent sportsmanship and character of the Cape Cod Baseball League. The Wareham Gatemen and the visiting team, the Cape Cod Baseball League, and the NCAA promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation and positive support of the participants and officials. Profanity, racial or sexist comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from this ballpark. Learning.
Blake Sable is the guy that's going to have to start this rally for the Gatemen, number 4 in white. The lefty facing Christian Tripp here in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Gatemen down 6-2 as they've given up another run. That was Sam Nepiarski's. As the pitch comes in on the outside corner, strike 1 on Sable.
Yeah, Nepiarski was so close to getting out of that inning unscathed, and
didn't really help himself, though.
No, he didn't.
As that throw should never have been made by the UConn product Nepiarski.
But nevertheless, it's a learning curve here on the Cape, and he'll surely pay attention more to situational baseball.
Absolutely.
And now there's an issue with, I think a ball left the Hyannis bullpen onto the field, out in left field.
And A nice play by the left fielder Robinson. So Blake Sable in an 0-1 count takes a bunt and pops it up to the pitcher. Sable trying to run it out and cannot. Sable is retired here in the 9th inning. Interesting move there, bunting in the 9th.
Yeah, very interesting call. Wonder if that was on his own or Don Snedden.
Well, he certainly has the speed to beat that out. Just popped it up a little bit, and the ball carried a little bit too far towards the pitcher for him to make a play down the line on that. So Sable retired, 1 out, and the Gatemen down to their final 2. And John Topa is 1 for 2 today with a sacrifice bunt back in the 5th inning, also a double. Came around to score the Gatemen's 1 of 2 runs. Now is going to be 2 for 3. John Topa, a 1-out single here in the 9th to try to get something going for Wareham. Good piece of hitting right back up the middle where it came from on Christian Tripp. Nate Fosnot singled back in the 7th, also singled in the 5th. He's the only player on this Gatemen roster with multiple hits today, and he's back up here in the 8-hole.
Well, the one thing you don't want here is a double play ball, because that will end the game.
Absolutely does end the game, and always tough to turn a double play ball on Nate Fosnot, however, but keeping the ball in the outfield can eliminate that possibility altogether. First pitch comes in low from Christian Tripp. Tripp, the New Mexico Lobo, facing Nate Fosnot, the George Washington Colonial. Swing and a miss outside. 1-1 on Fosnot. Number 11 in white trying to mount a rally after John Topa's 1-out single. Gives the Gatemen a runner on here in the 9th. And a good pitch there, a breaking ball from Tripp. Gets in there as the fog continues to mount here on the field. Not quite as intense as Chatham, not even close to as intense as Chatham yesterday, but still existent. And the runner fakes the steal, swing and a miss by Fosnot. He's down swinging, and the Gatemen are down to their final out. Fosnot down for the 2nd time today. He goes 2 for 4 today, assuming that's his last at-bat. Nick Angelini is being pinch hit for. Robbie Metz coming in here in a big position. They go with the veteran here with 2 out in the 9th.
We'll see if Metz can do something. Of course, he's really been struggling. 0 for his last 7.
I really wish they were still the Mets, so it was the Mets facing Mets, but I guess not. Robbie Metz, number 9, coming in from George Washington, the 2nd consecutive GW hitter in this lineup. And he's already down in the count, 0-1, batting from the right side. Able to lay off that breaking ball, 1-1 low, with Topa at first. 2 out here in the 9th inning. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks have a 6-2 lead. 3 runs in the 6th for them, 2 more in the 8th, and then added that 1 in the 9th on an E1 by Sam Nepiarski. Swing and a miss by Metz, and the Gatemen down to their final strike. Tough spot for Robbie Metz to be in. Just entered the game straight off the bench, and now all of a sudden, he's at the plate with 1 strike to go. Pitch coming in, inside. Bobbled a little bit by the catcher, but he holds on. That's DiCaprio from Rice behind the plate. 2-2 now. As Robbie Metz trying to extend this game. 2 outs here in the 9th inning. The Gatemen need 4 more runs. They trail 6-2. Pitch comes in from Tripp. Swung on, grounded back to the pitcher. Tripp over to the first baseman, and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks take Game 2 of this season series between the Harbor Hawks and the Gatemen by a final score of 6-2. Michael Pertell, Ethan Larison, and Christian Tripp, the 3 pitchers. Pertell will get the win, moving to 2-0 on the season. And the loss will be granted to Grant Wolfram coming out of the bullpen for the Gatemen today.
Yeah, just a tough day overall for Wareham. Again, Offense continues to be an issue the past 3 games, and when you look at it, no one really stood out today on the offensive side. I mean, Fosnot was 2 for 4 with a couple singles. I mean, there were some runners in scoring position for the Gatemen, but they just could not capitalize. And she had a single and a 1 for 4 day, but a lot of strikeouts today and swinging at pitches that really weren't in the strike zone. It was just not a good day for the lineup, and you know, Dawn Stanton wants to continue it, working on the hitting and obviously the bullpen pitching as well from Wolfram. 5 earned runs today, just not what he wanted. Miller Hogan comes in for 0.2 innings and gives up a couple hits. Nepiarski doesn't get the earned run, but gives up a run. Nevertheless, it was still on the scoreboard, and that's why it's
not an earned run, but
6-2.
The run was because of his error at pitcher. So,
and that's just, you're going to learn. You know, the Cape League is all about learning and smart baseball. You know, you come over from college and you learn the things that you wouldn't necessarily learn today because you're facing better competition here, and it all comes together at the end of the season. But at the beginning, they're surely going to have the downfalls. But, you know, the Gatemen can only go up from here.
The Gatemen losing their 3rd straight after being swept in the doubleheader by Chatham yesterday. And looking ahead in the schedule, they'll be in Hyannis on Wednesday, but first they'll travel all the way to Orleans tomorrow for a game against the Firebirds. You can catch that one on the Gatemen Baseball Network radio on YouTube. Thank you for listening to this broadcast of Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network. The general manager of the Wareham Gatemen is Andrew Lang. The producer of today's broadcast is Nick Veronissi. Our sideline reporter is Claudia Chakamian. Thanks to our great beat writer, Matthew Feld. Felder's Choice. The next broadcast of Wareham Gatemen Baseball will be tomorrow as the Wareham Gatemen travel to Orleans to take on the Firebirds. The game starts at 7 p.m. Our coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. with the Gatemen Pregame Show. Join Connor Federico and Jacob Toby on that call. For Jacob Toby, I am Sam Corman. Thank you for listening to this presentation of Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.